He didn't mean to say that in a way that sounded like he didn't care. He just
That's how we started the stream with Pixel. Just no context, Pixel.
I'm going to change my name right now.
Right, the peanut gallery. That's probably where Zach is right now, in the gallery. All right, so
there you go.
how's it going, everybody? It's me, RDV. I'm back here with Eric Breen. We have Joe Corallo, Aaron Sparrow, who's agreed not to show his face and just wants
or
to
his voice.
His voice. We also have, so
because he's like this, Zach will not show up.
Right.
No, this is great. He's getting this. Is wonderful.
And Dolan will be here on the show tonight too. As far as I know, he's not angry at us. He didn't abandon Joe to be by himself.
No, and who cares? I can talk about comics.
No, definitely. We'll put you full screen. Let you talk for an hour.
It's just going to be his face.
This is the Joe show for the hour.
There we go. There are worse things people could be doing.
So I'll put you in the middle so you can see it.
They could be watching the reading later.
You know.
Aaron's in the corner until he talks.
It'll be good.
So Joe, how many live streams do you have scheduled for tonight?
Tonight, I don't think. I think this is it for me tonight. You know, but I was dealing with other stuff and calls and emails and things earlier. Just not streams. But I am on a stream on Monday night talking about the Flash Gordon movie. So
really, there's a Flash Gordon movie. The new one or the old?
The old one.
Okay.
Not the old serials. You know, the one from what was it, 1980?
Yeah, Timothy Dalton. Yeah. I was gonna say, like, I kind of like had a mini heart attack. I'm like, they're rebooting Flash Gordon. It's like
Gordon's alive.
It's like he was original. He's the guy from the original movie.
What will your adoring public do if they have to wait almost 3 days to see you again after tonight?
You know, I'm just glad I don't have to, you know, wait, because I can watch me talk all day whenever. So.
And give him a mirror, kids, and he does.
Yeah, Breen always tells you that Joe is one of the busiest men I have ever known, but how he gets all these interviews is beyond me. You know.
Yeah, no, it's nice. I like, you know, I like, you know, talking to other people, and you know, especially if there's things to talk about, like the Flash Gordon movie, or the last movie stream I did, we talked about surf ninjas.
How many times are you on a live streams per week? Do you feel?
It really varies. I don't know, probably 2-3 times. Maybe it could be some weeks, you know, it could be more. It just depends on what's going on. Or
do you just do writing for like 24 hours then nonstop because you have to make up time you do it on YouTube?
It is a lot to have to then do all these other things. Luckily, I don't sleep much, I guess. So yay.
Right.
20-something years from now, you're not going to be saying yay after you say that sentence.
Yes,
it's more like, God damn.
I don't sleep much now.
I get to see you reading Down in the Dark, and it's like, why is it going to? It just the dialogue goes normal, and it goes Z Z Z because he fell asleep writing the book.
Yeah.
It's like, no, but that's why we have proofreaders, though. So.
Exactly.
No, it's
important.
Speaking of which, if you're hiring.
So how's that going, Dawn in the Dark? You have the second issue, I believe, already came out, or going to come out?
Yeah, issue 2's out. Issue 3 is out next week. Actually, is it next week or no? It's the week after. I think. Yeah. The week after it's
out.
So you can skip your LCS this week, folks. Nothing to see here.
Great. Yeah. So how is this different working on this versus Beckstar, which you did?
You know, I mean, there are different kinds of stories. With Beckstar, I really leaned a bit more into something that was like a little lighter. The characters were a little more jokey. There was some more quips between like some of the main characters. This book is a little. It's a bit darker. It's a bit more noir. Whereas I feel like with Beckstar, I was influenced by, more things like Indiana Jones, like, Outlaw Star, Cowboy Bebop, things like that. A little bit of Star Wars in there, but with Dahlia, it was a lot more influenced by, things more like Stray Bullets, comics like that. In addition to, trying to, like obviously there's a little bit of that like Ed Brubaker kind of stuff, splashed in there, but yeah, I really wanted to go for something that was a bit, darker, moodier. I'd say The Wrestler, like that movie, was also something that, played a part in, when I was trying to figure out like the mood, the tone for the story. So, just like wildly different kinds of things to influence them.
Was this easier to write, the story? Did it come more naturally, or what you think Beckstar was a little bit easier to write?
It's a little tough. I mean, I think I had a handle on Beckstar earlier, because there were fewer characters, and like the thing with Dahlia, I mean, they're both fun to write. I enjoyed writing both of them, but there were more characters with like different and competing motives. So like when I'm writing something like Dahlia, there's a lot of like, oh geez, would this character do this? Let me go back and read through things I wrote previously, and trying to make all the pieces fit. And when characters would do things that might be shocking, or like a twist, or like if there's some sort of betrayal or things like that going on, I have to make sure it works and it makes sense. And I'm like, well, why is this happening? Is it seeded throughout, or does this come off as more of a like, oh, this is kind of out of nowhere? So I wanted to make sure I was on top of that.
So you guys are looking for this, you can find it at your local store, comic store. It's also at madcavestudios.com. I got them here for $4. I believe these are I'm not sure, are these digital or are these actual comics? Okay, these must be the actual. Well, that's exclusive. That's what throws me out, because sometimes they're $4 just for the actual comic book itself through a website, and then you also have the digital too.
Yeah.
But I'm loving these covers, man.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it was I love Andre's covers, and Chris Sheehan, who kind of blew up like last year with the House of Slaughter, but he did a cover, a variant for the first miniseries I had done over at Vault. She Said Destroy with Liana Kangas. He did an issue 1 variant that we used for like we did a Midwest tour where I flew out to Memphis, and Liana and I did like a mini road trip. So we hit up Memphis, St. Louis, Chicago, Indianapolis, and a couple of other spots along the way. And we had that variant of issue 1 to sell with us on that tour. And I've kept in touch with Chris since then. And then this like kind of opportunity came up for him to also do covers here, and it was like, great, yeah, let's have him. Yeah,
dude, I'm liking the cover on. Well, there we go. It's like on such one. 25% off, or is it 20% off? They get a site. I mean, newsletter. Right. Anyway, but I'm looking at this. This is Kamalia. This is March 23rd. This is issue 4. That just intrigues me right there. Obviously, someone was pulled out. There's a gun there. There's blood there. It's snowing. It's a muscle car of some sort, and just it just it's something happened. And if you, especially, I haven't got a chance to read the books yet. I know Breen had read the first issue. I've been trying to catch up on Merc Publishing. I just got the other books. I just picked up all of the Miss Meow stuff.
Nice.
I've been just because once Dolan told me they're all connected, because I was like, I got a point of blood. He's like, wait, they're all connected. So like, oh my gosh, now I got to go try and find these, through my comic book store, because my one store doesn't even carry Born of Blood or Death Rage, you know, or even Miss Meow. So I was like, now I have to. Luckily, on the Merc Publishing and just like through Man Cave Studios, you can buy the actual physical comic, or you can buy a PDF.
Oh yeah,
and to catch up that way. And
Definitely.
because I'm when it comes to indie books, if it's not at the shop, it's kind of hard to get them. It's basically, first of all, that's the one thing I don't like about certain shops. Don't carry most of these books. So if you don't know about any book coming out, you lose a lot of customer base there, because these are books, you know, that I now reading more about this. Now I got to go back. I'm gonna try and go start reading Down in the Dark.
Nice.
And I said, it's unfortunately some of the indie titles go under the radar, you know.
Oh yeah, no,
and they turn out to be like some of the best books, you know, that are on the market, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah. So it's plus, you know, I'm not trying to be any bias here because I haven't read Down in the Dark, you know. But
no, you're good.
So, like I said, I just like the fact that you got both Merc Publishing and Mad Cave Studios have it, make it so it's available for people. Can just go right to the website. You can get the book. You can catch up.
Definitely.
Because before, I mean, can you imagine this? Comic books before the internet. If you didn't get a title and it's not there in the store, you know, you're like right now, I'm like, whenever my friend Skip and Sash, you know, he's over in California. And so I'm like, hey bro, I couldn't find this at my 2 stores here. Do you have this? He's like, yeah, he'll mail it to me in a Gemini mailer. Yeah. So it's like we have that system with friends now through Discord stuff. You can actually like, hey, does your shop have it in your state? Same with Breen, you know. I'll ask him, hey, did your shop get this?
Yeah.
So I love that. That's one of the pluses with having technology here now, that we can actually get the books that we need to get. Like I said, because some shops, they don't know anything about the book. They might order 2 or 3 or 4 copies, and that's it. Yeah. And no one picks it up. But then, like the next week, people are asking, "Do you have this book?" He's, well, nobody wanted the first one. Why would I order it?
Have you seen this book?
So I don't mean to derail the subject at all, but I mean, I love the fact, you know, that we have all this technology, you know, and they make it easy enough to go through these, find the comic book, whether you like reading on your iPad, the PDF format, or you want to read it physical, they'll send it out to you. My question is, when is the TV show coming out?
Right? No, I mean, that's
yeah.
You know, I mean, it's all that stuff's interesting. I've had you know, conversations before about some of the stuff I've done in terms of that with people. It's interesting to see what you do that people in those spheres find an interest in, and the things they don't. And
you know what would happen if they optioned this? They would change it to Dahlia After Dark. Dahlia would become like a high-priced call girl. Everything that you wrote will be thrown out.
Well, yeah, that's the thing too. They have certain things they want to put across, you know, and it's the point. It's like I look at for example, the MCU. They'll never do anything actual comic book accurate. You know, the Marvel and DC, they like to basically, I don't know if it's because of the licensing or because they don't want to pay the writer for certain things. So they'll purposely, well, this is our adaptation of it, but it's not an actual adaptation. It's just basically this taking the name and the characters and the whole new story, which to me can be fun sometimes. You know, I mean, unless they just shit over the product. You know, that's the one thing being a writer and getting someone to do your work, and they're like, but you butchered it. I mean, I look at the guy who created The Witcher. You know, his thoughts on it. You know, he's like, Netflix is like, it's like, all right, but now that Cavell's out, he's like, I don't care for it anymore.
But like, I mean, I feel like especially comic fans, we're all pretty used to botched live action adaptations of things. I mean, I don't think there's a ton of people who are huge fans of like Captain America 2, Death Too Soon, or, you know, the made-for-TV Doctor Strange movie from like 78.
I love Peter Hooten.
Peter Hooten, baby.
where
They're
but
hooting.
yeah, and I mean, even a lot of the early some of the earlier attempts with Marvel. I mean,
You find me a better Daredevil than Rex Smith. I defy you.
Well,
so I mean, some of this stuff is like, whatever.
It's gonna be different for you because this is actually you're the writer and this is your property versus the fan who likes the property, the book. It's almost like you know what you want to do, but you're also like, okay, you can have it, but this you can't. You don't want to be too controlling, but you also don't want to be like, there you go, just do what you want, and then just pay me a little bit. it's like,
yeah.
I don't even know how much. I mean, we talked to Chuck Dixon. He never really owned. He created Bane, but then he's like, with the incentives, I mean, being paid and stuff. Now that's with DC. That's a totally different thing. So I imagine if it's just through, if this got made into a TV show, how much would Mad Cave have a say in it? Studios, or it would be solely just you?
No, I mean these sort of things, that all of that stuff gets hashed out along the way to some extent because of everything that would be involved. So like I couldn't even tell you exactly because then other people always get brought into these things, and then it's like, okay, well, like for example, if this was a situation where I'm just using this as an example since it's a recent example. Is like Keanu Reeves with like Berserk and stuff like that. I mean, if someone like Keanu Reeves would really love to play Donnie Dahlia and something, all of a sudden you're renegotiating stuff because they're only going to do it for X amount of a percentage. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so like all of that stuff ends up being more fluid than, even if you think everything's locked and you're like, oh, this is sad, this is exactly what's going to happen. It's not going to happen that way. So
no.
There's all those things that go along, and then there's the difference between getting optioned versus actually making it on air.
True,
like
it's exactly.
I'm
waiting for Chariots.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was optioned for a TV series 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Going ahead and touching upon that topic, something of Dahlia. If there's something of Dahlia that is really important to you, that is, if someone else is going to adapt it, that this is like your one thing that you have to stick to X. Do you have something like that you could go ahead and point to directly?
I mean, with all this stuff, it turns into how much do you want to stick to your vision to how much do you want to see this happen? And weighing a lot of that stuff. There's a lot of things to consider. There's a lot of things to be like, okay, well, if they're going to make these changes, but something's going to come from it, do you go with it because you're going to get that bump? Like for a lot of people, this is the reality is. Yeah. Well, they might option this. It might never come out, but I'll get that announcement, and then I'll see a bump in sales, and those are royalties. Yeah. So, so a lot of people, and I understand it, are like, well, I'm not thrilled with some of these changes. However, it's a gamble. It's even going to end up coming out at all. So I'd rather just, make the extra money and, have that and then use that to leverage getting another comic picked up.
Because
absolutely.
The worst fear, I guess, would be like they adapt the show or turn it into a movie and it just flops.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, now, and people are like, well, was this completely adapted, or did they change everything? And the negativity it brings to the book's still ongoing, It's like, well, yeah, the movie sucks and all. I you're like, go check out the book. Like, but I watched the show, so I really it leaves that taste in your mouth.
Well,
So
most people know at this point that when something gets adapted, it's sort of like when you start a sentence at the beginning of a classroom. By the time you get all the way through the classroom, it's a complete different sentence. Yeah. So most people know that. So is that even if the live action property or product bears little resemblance to the source material, people kind of expect that at this point. So it's So I thought, speaking of that, I think wasn't one of the reasons why Criminal is just now being done was that Brubaker didn't want to give up control, and now I guess he's in a position to have some. But I mean, it has nothing to do with what we're talking about here. But
no. But that's
because we were talking about this a couple weeks ago, and I was trying to remember a particular author. His name's Robert Craze. He has a series of books about a guy named Elvis Cole, and it's the same like family of books like Reacher and all those guys, but those were never optioned because he wouldn't give up control.
Yeah, like Lee Child. Is it good?
Yeah, well, Lee Child, he said, when they asked me, he said, how'd you feel about having Jack Reacher, who's 6'5" and built like a pro wrestler, played by Tom Cruise? He said, loved it all the way to the bank.
Yeah, I actually like the fact that he said about the show. He's like, it's like, I love the show, but he's like, he said his character he liked was the cop, the female cop, and he says like, unfortunately, he's like, she doesn't come back, in the books, it just moves on to another story. But like, I wonder if the show will bring back that character back, because that's one thing I like about sometimes shows. They'll bring back characters that are fan favorites and maybe try to work them into the future season. But sometimes it gets so muddy then, the point where they're doing whatever they can and just kind of, I think it kind of brings down the story. But anyway, though, so if anybody's just tuning in, this is Joe Corallo. This is the creator and the writer of Dahlia in the Dark. We're talking about this book here, along with some other topics. So if you have any questions for Joe about the book, or just about what his favorite type of drink is, or
sure.
or if he's single, just let us know.
And if you want to say hi to a nebulous black screen,
Aaron Sparrow's there for
yes,
you.
Aaron's
played by Aaron Sparrow tonight.
Yeah, and then yes, and shout out to Dolan. I know you're a busy man.
But no, I mean, this is the most agreeable Aaron's going to get. So
that's right.
He would probably have a whole different answer to everything that you just said.
He is. I know he's co-writing Death Rage, and I believe was he also co-writing Miss Meow, right? Sure. And with I think the woman name's Murphey. I don't know what her full name is, but he was working with her on both books, and I would have loved to actually have her come on the channel too. But I don't know if she has what her social medias and stuff. If she has it, or we would have reached out. But so it's not just boys' night. They actually had a girl representative who actually worked on the books too. Yeah. That would have been interesting.
So while we're waiting for Aaron to maybe
wake up,
yeah, Joe, have you picked up any interesting omnibuses lately?
It's funny you mentioned that. I got one today in the mail.
Hold on.
What are the odds of that?
I know, right? I got the Silver Age Supergirl Volume 2
I hate
today. And I couldn't wait to dive in, and I already went through a classic story. I'll show you one of the ones that was
he's like 3/4 done reading it already.
Yeah, what was it? I read Action Comics 329 to 330, which is all about Supergirl having to take on the Circle of Evil and eventually Dr. Supernatural.
The circle of evil, Dan Slott.
You know what we used to say when we'd read one of these stories, we go, man, this would make a great retrospect.
Yeah, I know. We did used to set, but yeah, no, that's been fun. Because I've been going through a lot of Supergirl recently. I also was going through the Sterling Gates, Jamal Igle stuff around like the new Krypton era.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually surprised that I've yet to hear a single person, and people might have said that. I'm not going to try to take credit as being the only person on Earth that's thought this, but I'm like, the Krakoa era of X-Men, it's just new Krypton. It's kind of interesting how similar those two are, and that no one is referencing that. I mean, it's new Krypton with some Legion 5 years later paint on it, but
is it maybe because not a lot of people are reading the new X-Men?
I would say closer to the other one,
but I mean, it was still the case during House of X Powers of 10, which did sell well, and people were reading and praising at the time.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna, discount, Hickman or anything like that for it. Well, that means he might be coming in. But
he finally got enough of this talk. He's leaving.
Can you lose something you never had?
And there he is.
Whoa!
Hey!
Look at you! How's the Valentine's tree coming along?
Oh, I just got to hang some hearts and some cupids.
Wait a minute!
Great.
You said you were taking that down.
I am. Like, you see that all of the ornaments are off of it except for the one at the top.
I'm blind as a bat. I can't see that, but I decided.
Maranya, I'm
they're
sorry.
Still in the game.
I've got to take it down, but I've been sick throughout this week, so I've not felt like taking it apart and putting it in storage.
That's fair. No,
we've had you here for about 27 minutes under a black screen with your name. So.
Oh, really?
Zach has been terrified of you.
It was fun. I was, it was just a black screen with your name, so I was like, Aaron's never looked so handsome. Aaron's never been so agreeable, like all that.
Right? Like just a really good guest all around. I am the darkness.
But you got a lot to live up to now.
Joe said this was like a puppet stream or something. Like there was going to be puppets.
That's why he was avoiding it now. There are two puppets. There's Froggy, and the other one's Puppet Team based off of Angleton. I love comics.
You don't want the puppets. This becomes a different stream if there are puppets.
Yes, it gets kind of crazy, zany.
They really do think they're two different people.
So it's funny they've been mentioning about your ego. I had Buildy tonight as all ego, Ethan. Sorry, not Ethan Page, but Aaron Sparrow. But you changed your name.
Well, I'm not even a big Ethan Page fan necessarily, which Wes accused me of. He's like, you must really love Ethan Page, and I was like, no. I said I did that because I posted. There's one person on Twitter with like 8 followers who, whenever I say something, has to like chime in with something negative. So I just put out that like I saw on Amazon that one of our Darkwing Duck trades was going for like $145, and I was like, oh, this is flattering, but I really wish these things were cheaper so that more people could read them and get a hold of them. And then he was like, well, if you would have looked at eBay instead of trying to satisfy your own ego, you'd see that it's so much cheaper. And I was just like, okay, I said in there that I wish it was cheaper, and thank you for. I don't shop on eBay, so I don't tend to go look there. But thank you, and I posted like his pictures. I was like, I reposted them, and I was like, hey, if you guys want cheaper versions, they're on eBay.
I gotta ask, is this person who's chastising or trying to harass you? Did he even have an icon at all, or is it a gray icon?
Oh no, he has an icon, but it's just it's a cartoon avatar with a fake name. It's like it's the same thing that you always get. I always get harassed by well, I say harassed, but that I just laugh at them. But I always get like cartoon, cartoon stands with almost no followers and like anonymous picture, anonymous name. They always come in and try and talk crap.
It must be Pixel then. Because Pixel has a cartoon avatar that he drew himself.
Yeah,
it's me.
It sounds like Mumbles has moved on from Perch.
I know, right? I've seen. No, I haven't run into Mumbles yet, but.
Mariah
sure?
says, "Ron wants to know: is your tree still living? Otherwise,
no, this is a fake tree. I don't know like what you guys are paying around the country, but this year in California, the cost of trees like this size went up to like $150 to like $175. And I was like, I'm not paying $175. I was always a guy who was like, when I was younger, I was like, I will never have a fake tree. It's real trees all the way. And now that I've gotten older and like I prefer convenience. And
don't you guys have to pay more for water down there too?
I mean, everything's expensive down here. Like I think gas is about to go. Like
I know when there's like droughts and stuff, they regulate how much water you can use. You can't even water your lawn.
Okay.
Yeah, well, they say that, but they rarely put anything in place that actually makes
really. Okay, that's good.
Any legal ramifications? Like they just tell you that, like, you can't water your lawn. And
I do like your tree though. It looks like it's worth to go through the roof. That's spiral on top.
Roof.
I say what I want to say. Okay, Pixel?
Ooh.
I say it because it triggers you.
Is roof a word that you don't like? Is that like you're moist? You're just like,
No. It's that he says rough.
I always say rough.
Oh, rough. I had a friend
rough.
I had a friend whose sister said milk instead of milk. She'd be like, can I have a glass of milk?
I'm from Wisconsin, the northern Midwest stuff, so we say things a little differently. It's just the way that it is. So when I say something that they're like, that's how you say the words, I always get chastised. So I like to know that I have real friends here that like want to insult me.
Because
I have
real friends.
I've met you.
I'm a challenged reader. Okay.
You know what my nerd pet peeve is when readers or creators say continuity instead of continuity, and it kind of like makes my head explode a little bit. I'm like,
Vegman, give us.
It's continuity.
Yes, but I understand because a lot of people read these words. They've never heard them spoken, so they've read them. And it's like,
but when you get excited sometimes, Vegman, when you say continuity. And I'm thinking that's probably just projection.
That's because I'm talking about something completely different.
I approve of that. I mean, I'd like to talk about the continuity of
that's where continuity is at Merc. It's continuity.
Yeah, for Merc Publishing, it is a continuity.
If that takes off, kick back Vegman some royalties.
There you go.
I'm still waiting for Wes to kick me royalties for fantagonism.
Oh crap! I probably owe you a couple of quarters for gimmick infringement because I've used that a couple times.
Man, Brian wouldn't right to let him live. He killed Franklin.
He was our friend.
We owe Brian a lot of quarters for
Are
that
you
end.
A cigarette, Brian?
Of course.
Very, very good. And this is a lighter.
Well, I mean, it, like from like how small you are on my screen, it could be a joint. So I don't know.
Oh, no, it looks like it does look like an e-cigarette, so because it had a blue.
No, Aaron, I don't remember 1990 or 1991, so I've been clean since '92. Mm-hmm. But
I like the smoking because it's like that you can kind of be the curmudgeon, like you're like everything's terrible.
I already am. Yeah,
I keep telling him I want him to put on the white shirt with the red tie, and we'll call him Larry King.
Oh, that'd be good, right? Like you could get a big pair of glasses.
Or I could be Tom Schneider. Anybody remembers that?
Why not Larry Breen?
Oh, that's so
close enough.
Or
wait.
The new Larry King impression.
Oh, too soon.
Actually, no, that's a Joseph Stalin, isn't it? Or is it Lenin that's on display like that?
That's anybody that's dead, Venkman.
Well, no, you can't see them in a coffin. It's what you can see him as a communist one.
So Lenin's just doing Wakanda forever. That's what he's doing.
No, we just got done. We're reviewing Red Sun Superman.
Red Sun. So lots of bad Russian accents for one evening.
The Batman.
That's a good comic. Mark, I call him Mark. He's a good guy, and
Was that a brag? A not so humble brag too.
Joe,
I call him Mark.
Joe, we'd call him Mark too if he would ever return our call.
Joe's like, sometimes I call him Marky Mark just to be playful. He likes it.
Yeah,
I call him Mark Miller.
You know Mark Millar. We
We're
call him
not
Mark.
We're not gonna name drop now. The other day I was hanging out with
You know, Aaron,
Well-
Joe insisted on Mr. Corallo to come on tonight.
One of my favorite jokes is to be like, you know who really hates name dropping, and then just pick a really big celebrity.
Yeah.
But no, it's but yeah, Red Sun's that's good stuff. So
I remember
it's a
loving
nice
that back in the day.
Elseworld.
Yeah, when that came out, I remember loving it. I thought it was
It's really
a great
good.
book.
It's really good.
Someday when we're doing a retrospective of Beck's Star, and we'll say, Joe Corallo, I call him Joe,
There you
I
go.
call him-
I do that now.
and then I'll get a text and it'll say, Mr. Corallo, asshole.
Yeah. No,
That's
but I mean,
Mr. Corallo to you.
but we keep each other humble. I mean, I call Aaron. I call, Dolan Drew with Comics Elite. That's what we do.
You just doxed him. His name's Dolan.
Oh
No,
Lord, it's
important
hard.
to be- it's important to be humble. I mean, I try to be more humble than
Yeah,
anyone.
I was talking to Joe about this. I was talking to Joe about this. I was like, I'm trying to contact Dolan in email. I'm like, I'm getting I people call him Drew. His name's Dolan, and then I see him on another channel with a different name, and when he emails me back, it's this is like he's got 4 names.
No, I actually asked him that once. I was like, what the hell is your name? I was like, because I keep getting emails, like you're sending emails from different emails, and I'm like, who is this?
So I was like, well, is your name? Is it Drew? And Andrew, or what is it? Dolan? Is it Is it this other one? Is it what is it? It's like, because my things, I have I guess an OCD when it comes to like putting on the name of the stream. So I have the correct name. When you have 4 names, it's like I'll just list all of them. You can just choose which one you want to call them.
No, that's fair, but yeah, I mean, probably. I mean, he's got to pick a name based on whichever warrant he's trying to avoid. So.
Well, no, and to be fair, he did say. I think he even said on the stream last week. He said well, he's got to keep his work life separate from his actual other work life.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I mean, there are people that do that.
I mean, we live in a world where people can cancel you for the most stupidest things.
We live in a society.
And I agree with this. I think Aaron does a pretty good job of remaining humble. Except for there was a time when I did a live stream with Aaron and Eglantine, and he did look at one point and said, "I'm the best looking bald Aaron on this stream."
I did say that. That is true. That is true.
And he stole Mariah.
And you're bringing it back again. Best
but
bald
then
Aaron.
Presty came in, and I was like, jeez.
There you go.
Now I'm the second best looking.
Not the best beard.
I need to go get this trimmed. It's like starting to turn into like a crazy hobo beard. People are starting to think, when I walk up to him, that I'm going to ask him for change. So I need to go. Need to get in and get trimmed.
That's
Well,
good.
it's only if you walk up to him, you have like the mustard stain on your shirt.
It's someone who works in the
And
supermarket.
you gotta have the khaki shorts, and then you gotta have the flip flops with no socks.
As someone
if
who
I was
works.
wearing flip flops with socks, that'd just be ridiculous. I'm sorry, Pixel. Go ahead.
I forgot.
Something about
You work at a.
Oh yeah, I work at a supermarket, so I'm used to going ahead and handling cash. But at the same time, who carries change with them? Not a lot of people. Not a lot.
No.
I'm glad you said cabs. I think it's a different way. Like I'm used to handling homeless people who try to walk in the store.
No, that's puppeting. Under the bridge.
But with Eric, just like smoking indoors and all that was making me think of. I always think of that Simpsons writer John Schwartzwelder. I'm sure you're all big fans. But,
yeah, John Schwartzwelder.
Or John.
I call him John.
I went to
John,
John
yeah.
Schwartzwelder.
But he's the guy they based Ron Swanson on in Parks and Rec.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because to give you an idea of the kind of guy this was. I mean, number one, he was writing a lot of like the best Simpsons episodes in like the 90s. But when they banned smoking, I want to say he must have been living in California at the time. He had a diner booth constructed in his home because he was damned if he wasn't going to be allowed to smoke at a diner booth.
That is a level of crazy commitment that I can really respect. I actually really like.
I know secondhand smoke's bad for you, but like, you know, I don't know. It's like I feel like at least bars, if the bar owner wants to let you smoke in there, he should allow people to smoke in there. You know, that's where I draw the line with that. You know,
well, that's freedom, and we don't allow that in California,
right?
I mean, but that's everywhere now, and I agree with Venkman. It's you're not going into a bar to improve your health.
You're killing your liver.
So it should be the bar owner's prerogative, and then up to the patrons whether or not they want to go into that place, because there's going to be plenty of bars where you can't. Yeah. So it does. It's. I mean, I get. I said, I mean, I am so old that my mom was smoking in the delivery room. The doctor probably had one hanging out of his mouth when he spanked my butt for the first time.
I'm from Wisconsin. We have like the most.
What was weird is you also had a cigarette at that time.
I did. Well, they say get them early, Aaron.
Well, didn't you notice though? If you noticed when Breen was a baby inside his mom, all of a sudden you see hear a flicker of a lighter, and you see a light go up.
Yeah, my first words. It wasn't mommy. It was got a light.
Though that was the version of a pacifier for Eric Breen. They just put a cigarette in his mouth.
It was a different time.
Let Joe speak.
I just want to say real quick for people watching this stream, everyone has their own views, and my views are not necessarily reflective of the people who have been talking on this stream.
I'd like to say that this was scripted beforehand. Joe said he actually endorses everything.
Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, even my views that I've said on this stream, probably for comedy effect and not actually reflective of some things that I actually
everything except here is at the alleged tone. Nothing is serious.
I believe in leaning into the comedy, even if it's what I actually believe. I mean, look, if you want my real opinion, I think that anybody who's smoking in public should have that cigarette.
I just want to say Wisconsin. I just want to say that Wisconsin is so crazy that we have so many. We have more bars than anything else than we actually have schools in our states. We have if you basically get caught drinking driving to get your license back, you have to go take a 12-step course, and then boom, you get your license back, and a fine. But pay that off. But
they have nothing else to do up there. You gotta go.
Well, here in California, Breen, I have to disagree with you. We actually do go into bars to get healthier. You go in, you get yourself a nice kale margarita. Good stuff. That's a superfood.
Yeah, that
never hurt me more.
That's not going to get me off the wagon after 30 years. I think if I ever do crash, it isn't going to be for a kale margarita.
It's going to be because of our readings.
Yeah, I saw this reel that my friend shared with me. It's like this guy from Wisconsin. He's his first time visiting California, and he slowly starts becoming a Californian. In this, it's like he loses his accent. He's like, well, she's like, you know what? She's like, he asked her, the Uber driver. He's like, so where do you live before this? Are you basically a California native? She's like, no, I'm from Minnesota. It's like, use your accents. It's gone, And she's like, here, do you want some kale chips? He's like, kale chips? No. And he starts eating. He's like, why am I eating these? He just slowly becomes a Californian.
He's buying LaCroix.
Guys, we just gave you an idea for an excellent horror comic that you can start working on right now.
Before you know it, you're working in catering and telling everybody about that script you've been working on.
Exactly. So
you're standing in line at Pink's talking really loud on your cell phone while wearing a mesh trucker's cap.
It's like
Spielberg read my script and he loved it. I'm going to own this town.
It's like the plot of Mannequin. He gets fired from like 12 different places, and he finally gets that. His script gets read, and he's making bank. So we do have a question here. This is for both addressed to Aaron and Joe, because no one cares about us. Which do you prefer to work on, adapting a licensed property or your own creations? And then she says a follow-up question: why?
Why?
As two creators who have done both, interesting. But yeah, I would love to hear what Aaron has to say first.
I think, well, I'm just now starting to work on my own creator-owned book, and it is very fulfilling. There is something about the built-in audience of doing licensed material. Obviously, I did Darkwing Duck 2 different times. I've worked on other licensed materials like Devil May Cry and things like that. So there is like a built-in audience for those things that comes along and is ready to read what you're putting out there, which is a lot harder with creator owned. You've got to like entice people, and especially the old method of sitting at
grease those palms.
Sitting at a comic convention in Artist Alley and desperately trying to get people to look at it, even if they didn't buy it. Because everybody walks by an Artist Alley table and they're like, I kind of want to look at that thing, but I don't want to be obligated to buy. And the creator's sitting there looking kind of like desperate.
True, and I can be one of those people like, and when I see something that's like $20 or more, and a Kickstarter, and I don't know anything about this person, don't know about the book, and I can't flip through it. At least there at a convention, I can at least open the book, right? Look at it, and you have the interior art. And sometimes a Kickstarter, it's like this book's starting at $50, or $30, and it's like 12 pages.
Yeah,
it's not the full thing. So so I'm always leery when it comes to but at least at a convention, though, I think more people would want to be like, you know what? I can actually look at it. I can tell what I want to buy. Now, I get the feeling, because sometimes you're like, you want to be polite, like, well, this is not my thing here, but you're like, damn it, I'm buying it because I don't want to be like, a dick.
There's also the aspect of being poor. You want to go down Artist Alley to see all the cool things, but I am poor.
Is that
what? At a con, never say to a creator, oh, "This looks really good. I wish I had some money." Just say thank you and move on. That's all. I know that people are trying to be polite, but it's never fun to hear that, because your response is, "I wish you had some money too, so that you could buy this."
Now, I like it. You hand out the pamphlet, though, the little business card. It's like, sure, yeah, and then you're like, those are going to end up in the trash, Anything
everybody always asks if you have a business card, because that's like the getaway. Like, oh, I'll get back with you later. They won't. Don't even have business cards. Like, I don't even take business cards anymore, because it's like super easy to find online. You can DM me, and then if we're actually going to work together on something, then I'll give you all my personal information.
Yeah. Speaking of things you're working on, and you've been working on through Merc Publishing now. You're doing stuff later with them.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
That's just a special edition Kickstarter.
That is up right now. If you guys want to check it out, there's also some catch-up tiers. So if you haven't checked out anything from us, you can certainly go back and get the other issues, so that you have everything up until issue 5. But yeah, it's some of the most fun that I've had writing anything. It's not quite the same as licensed, because it's not going through like a corporation who then you have to get approvals from. The only people I have to make happy are Sean and Murphey. And so far they seem to like what we're doing. So if you guys can check it out, there's a special Shikari launch special, as you can see, this weekend only, but it will run for another week or so. If you heard
it here first. Aaron doesn't have to make the fans happy.
So, that looks good. Wish I had some money.
Oh man. And the thing with that is, like, what am I supposed to do with that information? Like, now I just feel bad for you, and I feel bad for me.
Just get business cards and say you suck. They look at it later.
No, you never want to. Like, I don't want to make fun of people for. There have been times in my life where I haven't had any money. I don't want to.
But I'll also I should answer that question as well from the audience. Like, I really like both. I can't talk about it right now. I'm adapting something that's a licensed property, and it's a lot of fun when it's here's the thing. It's fun when it's something you have an attachment to. Like, and in a similar kind of way to a creator-owned thing, because if you're doing your own thing, you're like, ooh, this is what I would do with, if I got to play with these toys. It's not that dissimilar from a creator-owned thing in the sense that you're like, ooh, I want to do this thing with the toys and the sandbox and all that. But I think probably the worst would be working on a licensed property that you have no attachment to, but you're writing full time or whatever, and you gotta do what you gotta do to get by. Like, that would probably be a slog. Like, I think I could make something like that work if I could find a way to get in and get invested. But yeah, if it's a property you like, it's really exciting too.
And
like if somebody offered me like G.I. Joe or something like that, I'd be like all in. I know exactly what I'm going to do with this. But at one point, I got offered Fraggle Rock, and I didn't know anything about Fraggle Rock. I just had completely, although I was a big Muppets fan, I had completely missed that portion of Henson's catalog. I'd never really seen an episode, and I could have gone and done the research and watched a bunch of episodes. But at that point, I figured like better that this writing gig should go to somebody who's really passionate about Fraggle Rock and might do something really cool with it, and they'll be living their dreams.
You missed out, because that was my childhood, was watching Fraggle Rock reruns.
Yeah.
Worries
for another day. Worries for another day. It's fun. But it's I mean, I was the right age, I guess, at all of that for Fraggle Rock. So I've forgotten more about Fraggle Rock than probably most people have known.
It helps.
You've forgotten more about most things than most people know. You have the most obscure bank. I thought I had an obscure bank of knowledge. Joe will just occasionally like call me and say something like, "Isn't it crazy that we all pretend that Wings wasn't a thing?" And I'm like, yeah, Wings. That was a big show. That launched a lot of careers. Nobody talks about it anymore. It might as well not even exist.
No one goes Tony Shalhoub, that guy from Wings.
No, or like Tim Daly is like Superman now, the voice actor for Superman.
I was gonna say that's the other thing I know from Wings is like Tim Daly's on there, and then
Steven Weber, who was in that TV remake of The Shining.
Yeah, that was the one that Stephen King had more creative control over and was a lot worse.
Oh, so much worse.
That one. It's
I just got hungry.
The TV show Miranda, not Paul McCartney in the Wings.
Do you think it's funny that The Mist is one of the best Stephen King adaptations ever put to film, and part of the reason it's so good is because Frank Darabont changed the ending?
Yeah.
Wait, The Mist is the one with Thomas Jane?
Yeah.
What was the original ending? Because I never read the book.
In the original book, the military comes along and everything's fine. Like, it just kind of like ends. Like, we got out of the store.
He just added that though, the whole mercy killing thing.
Yeah, he was like, wouldn't it be crazy and dark if like this happened? And
wouldn't it be crazy if Dolan just showed up almost an hour late? Hey,
hey there. But yeah, this is fun. We were just talking about Stephen King adaptations.
Ooh. Before that, we hit that half an hour of Dolly in the Dark, and then Aaron showed up.
Yeah, no, I like to come in. I like to come in not knowing what the topics are and just completely derail everything.
You know what? I'm here from the beginning, and I derail everything right away. So
no, exactly. I mean, I was derailing a few people's evenings last night because I texted just a handful of people about how I got that Jordan Knight song from like 1999 stuck in my head, that like "Give It to You" song, and I had not heard that song in like at least 20 years. And I made one friend of mine, not in comics, but one friend of mine, very sad because he was just like, "Oh God, that was over. That came out over 20 years ago. Like, it's very upsetting."
You do that all the time, though. You'll send a message and they'll be like,
"My God, Aaron, you were right.
Toy Story's 30 years old today," and you're like, "Yeah, thanks, Joe. I'm gonna go kill myself now."
Yeah.
I was getting my haircut today, and I heard that that Lifehouse "Hanging by a Moment" here with you, and I haven't heard that song in like literally 15, 20 years. So that made me feel old hearing that.
Jordan Knight's mother doesn't remember him.
Is that
New Kids on the Block were big for a while there.
No, it's like that scene from Weird Science where like they're like holding up a picture of him. They're like, "It's Jordan, it's our boy."
I mean, as a kid, I watched the New Kids on the Block cartoon.
They had a cartoon?
They sure did. I was probably not the target demographic for it because I was too young to understand they were like a boy band.
Oh,
I was just like, oh, it's a cartoon.
Yeah.
Did you have to leave that? Did you have to leave that sentence with "I was too young" too?
You know, it's funny that Dolan brings up Lifehouse. I heard the song "You and Me." You know, the people that's what they had was on the radio today of all times. So like, we have this thing called the Party Station where they play all different times, and just Lifehouse has been just popping up randomly on that channel now. Someone at the DJ is like, "We need more Lifehouse."
Said no one ever.
What was the other one they had? Or The Calling? Or is it a different band?
It's a different band.
But they sound exactly the same to me, though.
Yeah.
So I hear them, it's like, is it the same guy? You know? But yeah, a lot. It's weird, though, that I hear Guns N' Roses on our classic rock station, you know? And then,
I heard Breaking Down the Walls of Heartache, Bang Bang, the other day, and I remember that Scandal featuring Patti Smythe.
Yes.
Always felt like Brute by Fabergé, where it's like, here's something worthless, and then we added this on as if it makes it more impressive.
Patti Smythe and then The Warrior.
I was of legal drinking age when that song came out.
Is that what led to the drinking?
No, but I was gonna say that's 1983.
There's a music video.
God
knows. You know why Breen is able to stay on the wagon is because he doesn't read current comics.
You have a point.
No,
Patty
you read something
Smythe.
nowadays, you immediately take out your pocket flask.
Although there is one book that Breen's been reading, and it is the new Paul Levitt's Avengers Lost in Time thing.
That's really good.
Yeah, that's been good. Joe Fixit.
I just happen to keep Joe's recommendations there handy just in case.
Here, let me.
Okay.
Speaking of Joe Fixit, do we know any more about Peter David's condition? How he's doing?
Good question.
It sounds like he's very slowly coming around. Like he's apparently able to write, even right now. It's just slower, but he's still.
Can we just preserve this man so he can just keep putting out more and more books? You know,
I would be very happy with that. He, Peter David, edited the only published like prose short story I have out there.
Joe calls him Pete. That's how well he knows him.
Petey, but
it was really strange. Eglantine started hanging around his hospital room. Yeah, it started to get that Mike Barron feeling. So
because if those who don't know, I love comics. So we had Mike Barron on the channel about a year ago or two. For whatever reason, Aaron decides to basically do you have any plans for who's going to take over Baxter? Or not Baxter, but what's it called? Badger?
Badger next.
The next is, when you pass away, and they're like, we're all just kind of like, I'm freaking out. You just said that. Brain's like, his cigarettes just about to drop off, like Ray when he sees Slimer in Ghostbusters. And I'm like, you actually just said that to the guy. And it's like, so it's become a running gag where we'll do it here too. So Aaron, who's taking over your books, and Dolan and Joe. Are you at each other's wills to take over the books?
And in an astonishing coincidence, Mr. Barron has never been back.
So you mean like when I die? Is that what
your IP? Who's taking over your IP?
So like next week?
Well, you're in California. It could be any day.
That's true.
My favorite Mike Barron related story I had heard was from Bill Loebs, who took over the Flash after Mike.
You call him Mike or Michael?
Mike. But so Bill's telling me this story, Bill Loebs, in case but so he goes, he took over the Flash. He was on it for a little bit, and he's at this convention, and he goes, and Mike Barron just comes to his table and goes, Well, everyone seems to like your flash run.
Wow.
I thought maybe that Mike went up to the table and said, "But I'm not dead."
Do you guys remember when Badger was in an issue of Street Fighter by Malibu?
Really?
No,
I don't.
He entered the Street Fighter tournament and faced off against the World Warriors.
Wow.
Yeah, they had that license for about 20 minutes. And then Capcom pulled it because they hated it. And then they also had the Mortal Kombat license for a while, like around the same time. So, like, you could have had that Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat if things would have gone better, but we never got it.
Because Badger was over at First Comics for a little bit too, with other Mike, Mike Gold. I just call him Mike. But when he was over there,
I call him Goldie.
Yeah, it started at Capitol, then went to First, lasted about 70 issues in its first run.
Yeah.
I was
Back
reading Nexus
when indie comics had longer runs than Marvel or DC does today. Well, Marvel anyway.
It's true.
I was rereading the issue where Badger first appeared in Nexus, like that one of the first issues, like issue 10 or 11, and that was I had to go reread it and like, wait a minute, does Badger really just show up in an issue of Nexus? And had to really wrap my brain around that.
Speaking of Nexus, I found this at a Half Price Books, just chilling there.
Ooh, nice.
Introduction by King Cleomenes. So
Yeah,
cool.
the imagination or whatever it is rattling around Mike Barron's head in the early 80s was just incredible. And I'm sure he had, like, from what I understand, Steve Rude has, I'm sure was able to help at least on Nexus. But I mean, I said, it's just the ideas behind those books. I mean, who said, I'm going to have the Ghost of Warren Oates as a recurring character, and he's going to talk to me on buses. It's like the stuff he comes up with. It was just, I said, those are two of my favorites then, and they still are. But
I like a foreword by Chris Claremont because you don't know how it's going to wrap up for like 5 more years.
Yeah.
Are you saying that even his forwards have dangling subplots?
Yes. You know what though? I always loved that about it. It's like you're reading it and like Havoc and Polaris. Some campers find a big shark in the mountains, like a giant shark laying there, and it's like one of the Brood shark ships, and it kills the campers. And then the guy, you don't see that. You don't see it for like another 10 issues. And then you pick up with Havoc and Polaris, like when that guy came like driving down the mountain trying to get away after his girlfriend got killed and nearly kills him. And then you jump forward 6 months, and now the Brood infestation has happened. But you had to wait like 2 years for that dangling subplot to get picked up. I loved that.
If you turn the page on that, there's an afterword by Louise Simonson and Ann Nesenti. Joe calls them Wheezy and Annie. That explain all the subplots he lost.
I have actually called them Wheezy and Annie to their faces in the past 2 months.
I think I was next to you when you called her that at Baltimore. I think I heard that.
Yeah.
You know who always throws me? I'm just going to throw this out there. You know who always, just since we're talking about industry people, I've met Barbara Kiesel so many times, and she's always so nice, but she changes her hair often. And for some reason, she might as well be a chameleon. I can't recognize her when she changes. Like, I recognize her by her hair. And so when she changes it throws me. And I've introduced myself to her like 4 times. She's like, we met her.
You want to mention the whole Tim Lim thing, Eric?
No, that would just be piling on at this point.
Okay.
Yeah,
did I miss something?
I've met Barbara too. I've got a comic of hers I'm supposed to be putting out, like a 2-pager or something for this.
I bought a bunch of stuff from her personal collection one time. She had like a bunch of short boxes there at the con, and she was like, "Yeah, these are the comics that Carl and I collected, and they're just taking up room, and I'm getting rid of them." And I was like, "Ooh, yeah, don't mind if I do."
Yeah. For clarification, the whole Tim Lim thing was with the other Aaron on Isle Comics. He has our friend of the channel, Tim Lim, and they were at Disney, and he didn't recognize him. He walked up to a random Asian guy and thought it was Tim. So we always give him crap for that too.
So okay,
that's not great.
I'll finish story for anybody that hadn't heard this part.
Yeah,
it says we won't let that die, and Tim thought it was. Tim loves this story too. I tell about the time that Aaron took his copy of Common America up to Ron Lim to sign.
Not me. This isn't me. I didn't do this.
I know, this is the other Aaron, to clarify.
Although now
This is I Love Comics.
to go straight up to Ron Lim.
But I said, yeah, nobody. I said Tim has a great sense of humor about that. It's when he's telling the story about what his parents thought of him being a comic book creator, and this is Tim Lee saying, "Why you not be doctor?" He goes, "I am."
He does. It's a side job. He's doing the comic books, as most writers probably do.
Like,
a side job that he spends hours upon hours every day toiling over.
I always laugh because like they're doing their own Kickstarter thing. That's all they do, and they released Volume 7. It just went live on Kickstarter, and I joked as I was talking to him and Mark, who's the writer. I said, "So are you guys done with Volume 12 yet? Because they're always working so far ahead, before they release it."
Mark's probably written it already.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, Tim hasn't started drawing it yet, but Mark's written it.
Well, Tim's always drawing, so Tim will pop up on his little name Bunderdome, and he'll actually be the one to actually make the joke about the random Asian guys. He's always harassing E. It's just hilarious. So I love it when people can actually just relax, have fun. That's the best thing about being human beings is we may not know each other, but laughter is usually like a good thing, icebreaker. But
there's a certain science to it too. I've heard that there's studies that if you've grown up in a very kind of racially homogenous area, and you've only been exposed to people from certain walks of life, you've only been surrounded by Caucasians, or you haven't really seen any black people or any Asian people or what have you, that you actually kind of get a certain amount of face blindness. If you're not exposed to it during your formative years when your brain is forming those connections, that it becomes really hard for you as an adult. There is a certain amount of science behind it. It's not just this guy that can't differentiate between Asian people. It's he probably didn't have that in his formative years.
See, I look at it this way: no matter who you are, you're a stranger to me. I watch what I say around you because I don't know if you're going to get upset and throw a punch at me. that's always my I'm always
That happened once. Come on, let me live this down.
That's why I'm meeting you guys through the live stream and not in person.
Because we would all try to take a shot at him if we met him in person.
And if I say anything offends you, you have every right to blame Pixel.
Oh, I was gone for half an hour, and
exactly that's what happens.
The world fell apart while I went to go grab a couple slices of pizza. Believe it or not.
Do you have another comment from Marani again? Do you guys listen to music while you create? And if so, what do you listen to and why? And then there's a second one. If not, why not? See, she's really grilling you guys with these questions.
I know, that's a good question.
No, I can jump in that, but
Joe listens to Jordan Knight while he
yeah. But no, I mean, I do. I need to listen to something. Because the problem is, if I try to put something on the background, it'll be something maybe I watch a million times, but even then I'll be like, oh, this is the good part.
Yeah.
and then I'm like, oh no, let me listen to music or something. But it's gotta be something I've listened to a lot. So that way I can just sort of go with it and not get too lost in it. And it depends, because sometimes I'll just want to put on classical music or something like that. Something that's not, or instrumental stuff.
Joe's very sophisticated.
Yeah, Well, I do enjoy, some a Japanese classical.
And then he's got the candles lit, and he's just typing away.
He'll put on some Beethoven. Joe calls him.
Yeah, but
he gets a smoking jacket for writing and lights his pipe.
I like a lot of Eastern classical, Ryuichi Sakamoto is someone
what do you call him?
I enjoy. Yeah,
Rye.
But
he's got his hors d'oeuvres. He got the waiter bringing stuff up. He's actually at a restaurant while this is going on.
But Ryuichi Sakamoto was also in the Yellow Magic Orchestra. So I listen to stuff like that, but then I'll also listen to was it Godspeed You Black Emperor is that's good for that kind of stuff. But I mean, I'll bounce around, listen to all kinds of stuff. Any of Bowie's catalog is up for grabs. Iggy Pop, the Stooges, Lou Reed, T-Rex. Trying to think, but Elton John's "Goodbye Yellow Brick Road." It's a wonderful album. Devo pop in there. The Cure, the Smiths. It's a lot of stuff. 9 Inch Nails is in rotation a lot.
The Smiths have some depressing music, man. That must really affect you.
He's
like, this story went from like being happy to instantly being sad.
Yeah. No, for sure. What else is? I mean, there's all sorts of good stuff. George Harrison's Cloud 9. That's wonderful.
So I do have a follow-up question that to piggyback on this one.
Yeah.
Is anything you've been see if you watch or listen to it? Is any of it ever like accidentally made it into the book while you're actually writing it?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that character is not supposed to be in here, or what's going on? You're like,
I've put words in, that are from the song, and then gone, oh, gee, I got to go back and take that out. Which is why I don't listen to music a lot of the time, or have TV on when I'm writing. I kind of need it quiet because I have a very pedestrian brain. I'm easily distractible. So
squirrel.
Yeah. Even if I'm I put on a video, I'll put on Wes, and this is a video that I've already seen, so Wes is talking, but then I'll be like, oh, this is where that vein starts bulging in his head. I want to see.
I'm kind of the opposite. I'll be on a Discord call with Eric and another friend Ash, and they'll be talking, or even Skipitosh is in the chat here, and I'll be reading comics while they're doing that talking. I'll just turn it down for background noise, and I just read the comic.
Yeah, it's because you don't have an attention span long enough to finish your own sentences.
Well, let me finish it. No.
Sometimes Breen will be telling me about something really deeply personal, and I'll just start reading the comic. It's what was that? No, it's fine.
When I was 3 years old.
When you're in a Discord call, we're in a Discord call for about an hour and a half, and it's like late at night. It's like, I gotta read a book for the next stream the next day, because what we do here on Tuesdays, I get my books, and then Wednesday I get the rest of the books, and then Thursday we're doing an actual live stream reviewing the books. So if I have 20 books, I'm like, yeah, click it, Bryn, and just keep reading.
But I wanted to tell you.
Besides, it's usually nothing that's even. It's a conversation that they're arguing about something, and I have no say in it whatsoever. So that's the best time.
That's not true. I learned years ago never to argue with Ash. It's like trying to figure out the universe ending. It doesn't. So it's.
And Zach says I do the same thing, but at least I show up though. Unlike you, Zach, didn't want to show up tonight.
Yeah. What about Dolan though? You listen to any music or anything?
Yeah, I listen to actually, like you, Joe. I'll listen to a lot of classical music. I have it on in the background. But when I was writing the first issue of Born of Blood, I was listening to the Conan soundtrack. Actually, I had that going on in the background.
There you go. No fight your Death Punch or Metal.
No, I can't do that. No, I personally can't. I will say again, I can attest to this. Sean, who owns Comics Late and Merc Publishing, whenever he's working on launching a cover, he's focused on make sure everything looks good. He's got Slipknot, death metal going. That's how he focuses.
I find that so hard to believe. That doesn't seem like Sean at all.
It's just I can understand but listening to it, but when you have it blasting so flipping loud, if people upstairs can hear it, it's like, my God, I don't know how.
Do you have someone with a broom going?
Yeah.
Now we know how Sean gets in the zone.
Yeah, it's like, hey, all right, guys, I got to launch cover. And you just hear Slipknot start blasting. It's like, oh, he's in the zone. All right.
Is he dancing up there?
AutoZone?
The mosh going.
But no, I mean, every once in a while too, I'll be getting ready to write stuff. I'll just be like, they put on some Roy Orbison,
I like all of Joe's choices here.
I do have a question that comes to Merc Publishing. How did you guys all get involved with that?
One day they one day they emailed me and said, "Hey, are you open for any editing work? And would you like to get on a call?" And I said, "Sure." And then I was talking to him, and they said that they had also talked to Joe, and I was like, "Oh, Joe's very good." It's like I didn't want to do a thing where it was like, "Oh, well, we talked to Joe, but we'll hire you to do everything." I was like, "No, let's divide it up." Joe's a great editor, and and I was like excited to I talked to Joe a couple times. Because we've been on some a couple of streams together talking comic writing with Wes when I was doing it with Mark Pellegrini, and then Joe would come in and sub when Mark couldn't make it. And so I knew like I liked Joe. I liked kind of his perspective on things. So it was really cool. And I think Drew had actually recommended us. I think is how they got in contact with us.
Yeah, I had.
Yeah, no, that's because what Wes, I remember, reached out to me to ask, like, hey, is it cool if Dolan reaches out to me? I'm like, yeah, sure. So that's kind of how that got there. Not that Wes needs any more promotion than he already gets. I mean,
is he demanding a royalty like he is from me?
I just want to say that you guys mentioned like Wes, like his name 30 times tonight on this channel.
Wes from Thinking Critical.
I've been keeping count.
I just call him Wes.
So for those who weren't with us last week on Friday, Dolan was on here doing an interview, first interview on the channel, dude. Guy just reaches out to you. He's like in the YouTube comments, he's like, "Hey, that's me. Can I come on?" I'm like, and I'm thinking like, because we get spam people, majority are porn bots, but we've had people come on and just leave comments. So it's like, I've never had a creator be like, just be like, "Hey, I'll come to your channel whenever you want me to." It's like, so I was like, you know what? First of all, I'll see if he's legit. and
Dolan, thank you for not being a porn bot.
Like,
for right now, yeah.
So it's really cool having Dolan having you on last week, man. So because of that, when you told me that they're all basically the whole is a all connected universe, I started getting all the comics.
Nice.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Love
Nice.
it.
Thank you for picking those up.
Yeah, Death Rage,
thank
too.
you.
So
Thank you for single-handedly funding them.
Big
There was
so
a comment earlier in chat that said, like, I guess he was wondering if some books are going to go back to reprint because his stores couldn't keep them in stock. And I was going to say, if your store doesn't have them, go to mercpublishing.com. You can buy those back issues there, guys.
Or go to Venkman's house.
Yeah, I mean, he's got some.
actually, I would recommend going to Breen's house. He's got more books that are more valuable.
Well, I was going to say it was really cool of Dolan to show up last week. It's really amazing that he showed up tonight.
Thank you.
What's funny is we were on Max's stream.
Yeah.
And so like you guys kind of like overlapped, and I was like, okay, I'll do some of Max's stream, then I'll come over here and I'll do some of this. So
Now we need comparison.
That Max's stream's looking awfully good now.
Well, Drew and I we feel like we feel like the prettiest girls at the dance, man. We got like all these offers. What's going on?
Yeah.
None of Breen's books though are 9.6 heat books.
Whoa.
Yeah,
You have that.
but none of
Joe,
yours
keep
are a
it for
2.5 love story.
2.5
Ooh.
Kind of get you right here.
Yeah. Is a 2.5 love story a three-way where someone just doesn't have their heart in it?
All I know is that was 2.5 times more expensive to buy that than it was when I got one that's probably about a 7.
The only slam comics I have is the Black Widow. It's a 3.0.
Oh, nice.
That's fair. That's fair.
And then 4.0.
Nice.
I'm in an office here at the Comics Elite, and I got a bunch of slab
on the
books
wall
in short boxes right behind me right now. It's like I don't even know.
And to balance this all out, I own none. No slab comic.
I
at
just
all.
showed you all of mine.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
the only other one I have, it's over here. I'll grab it.
It's Action Comics #1,
Nice.
signed by the creators.
This
There we
one
go.
is in. It's not
As-
really special or anything. That's nice.
Nice.
That's really nice. But yeah,
It's signed by Joe.
just this is nice. I love this cover. It's not. It's just it's a 9.4. It's not the but it's like it's expo.
Let me tell you something about that comic right there. Dirty Harry was really big at the time. That's why that cover says, "Come on, make our day."
So
Yeah.
I like that you guys said that you guys are like the belle of the balls, because you and Dolan, Aaron, so is Joe like the stand-up act before you got here? Is that what they're trying to say here? Man?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
He just called
I'm
you a
the guy
seat
that
filler.
works- Yeah.
Listen, we're all like just basically organ grinder monkeys. We just go on shows and just dance for dudes.
That's pretty much why I bring Breen on, because Breen is entertaining. I'm not.
I
you go.
pay
It's
him in
important to-
Spider-Man's. I pay him in Spider-Man's.
Yes.
So since we have you all here, we'll do an improv reading. This kid.
Oh my
Speaking
god.
of, someone said Spider-Man. I had to splurge and get the Wedding album. This size
Oh,
giant
nice.
thing.
I saw the original one at Half Price Books. Apparently, that's a reprint.
It's gigantic though. It's like the size of like an absolute. So I was just like, I
saw that.
have
and
to.
I saw that I saw it, and I instantly just felt depressed because I remember when Spider-Man was good.
The only slab books I have is I have a Stan Lee signed slabbed Avengers #4,
Nice.
first modern appearance of Captain America, and then I've got my own issue of Darkwing Duck #1 that someone gifted me. Like so that's
fair.
kind of neat, but it also kind of makes me look like an asshole.
Well, no, but did you sign it?
No.
You see, it's just like the business owner that frames his first dollar bill. He's very proud of that
Sean,
bill.
I can't begin to tell you how many books, art of Sean's, all of his covers and stuff he's got framed. It's like it's your Batman, it's your Batcave, it's your cave of vanity. It's like we've all got it. We've all got our stuff that we're.
I mean,
I do
I
have
got-
some original art from the books that Silvani
Yeah.
gifted me that are framed.
Nice.
But
See, is it bad though? I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, is it bad?
Go ahead.
Go for it.
No, I was just gonna say that I'm not the guy who has like the $100 slabs on their wall. It's just boasting. I got more money than all of you, or the fact that there's ropey cuts on the wall. I get the knickknacks. I get the little boxes. I go.
If he bought any book that was slabbed and it had and wanted to frame it up, he would have no space on the wall.
It's all the little $50 statues plus Hobby Lobby stuff.
Is that a Green Goblin right there behind you on top of the? That is amazing.
You guys can go to Hobby Lobby. I'll just throw this out there. You guys can go to Hobby Lobby and buy.
That is, I love that. That is amazing.
It's $125.
Wow.
To the gallery. So
Nice.
all plastic. See, I kind of was like, to be honest,
That
with
was
you, a little up.
120. That was 125. Usually the galleries are like $50, $60.
Well, it's a giant size. Normally,
And it looks like it lights up, right?
no, I was hoping it did.
It
There's
doesn't.
nothing- No, it doesn't.
Wow.
That
It's got a
bottom
bottom
looks
like
like
it's
it
a
could easily just be.
Well, the
popped
bottom
off
part
and
is actually
look like-
what's glued onto the right here. As you can see.
Oh.
Okay.
So you could light that up pretty easily, though. It would not take much.
Sure, yeah. It'd be cool though. See, if I was a computer wizard, I would have somebody actually like print a little soundboard, so it actually you just hear him laughing from the movie.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. But
Can
No,
Spider-Man come out and play?
I'm sort of a scientist myself,
No,
a scientist.
You can go to Hobby Lobby. They have a big, they have like those tin signs and things like that of different comic characters that you can get. And I've been tempted to buy this numerous times because it's Batman and all his rogues, except Scarecrow is the Marvel Ebenezer Lawton version of Scarecrow and is not Jonathan Crane. And like, I'm in my head, I'm like, how does this happen? but I know how it happens. It's you've got a company and they've got pools of assets from both companies to make these things, and they're just like, oh, what other villain should we use? And they're like, Scarecrow. You don't have Scarecrow in there. And they're like,
Not Scarecrow.
Oh, there he is, and they just drop him in, and have no idea that it's the wrong version. So it's just I love that sign so much. Like, I'm always tempted to buy it just because it's wrong.
I would
really
buy
cool.
it just because it's wrong.
So who here is being buried with all their slab books? Anybody? Are you guys gonna just leave them to somebody else? I know there are people who actually legitimately they're thinking their will is like, I want to be buried with all my books. And I'm thinking if you have Breen's room, he could be buried inside the room with the books.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, do you have a basement, Breen? Because we could you put it all down in the basement and we just collapse everything down on top of you. Like it's the end of a
At one point though, I did have 55,000 comics. It was 255 long boxes, and I always was worried that I would come home one day and they would all be on the first floor, along with the second floor.
That's a valid worry.
Because but I bought the house off my brother-in-law, and he explained the load-bearing joints and everything. So I kind of kept them to the sides of walls, but that was a concern because it's
a lot of weight.
I did have a basement in my first house, but it had one of those. It was one of those old houses where the steps were more like a ladder.
Yeah.
And I was in my probably late 20s, early 30s when I had that house, and I took boxes down there, and it was hard enough in my ute. So I said, I need a base. I would like to have a basement, but then again, I also realized I also need 2 new knees. So I just pile them all everywhere now.
You just need a dumbwaiter. You can just, or you can have the automated one where you're just like.
Well, a buddy of ours that does the fossil show with us, he bought an old funeral home that he lives in. It was converted into a house, but he has a service elevator in the house. It's the coolest thing I've ever seen. It's big enough for several people to walk in. You could probably put a baby grand in there and just watching it go up the stairs.
He also has a lot of restless spirits in that house.
That's right, a lot of ghosts. I would not sleep well.
Who died in that elevator?
Yeah, I'll tell you what though, if you ever have a couple minutes to kill, the guy's channel name is Gratu Orloff, and his older videos. Well, actually, anyone you watch, his house is a pop culture museum like you wouldn't believe, and it's when I first discovered the channel, I wasn't really paying attention to what he was saying. I was just dumbfounded at all the stuff behind him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually going to bring up Gratu because I know that Gratu, on the topic of slab books, does not appreciate the art of slabbing books. And
but he's so low key about it.
He talks about wanting to break him out all the time. So don't send them to him, Eric.
Yeah, Gratu's place is pretty much if you go to an antique show, those antique shops in town where they're so packed with so much stuff. That's literally his house with all the stuff he's collected over the years.
It's unbelievable. He has hundreds of old movie posters of 50s and 60s
he just
sci-fi
moved
stuff.
To the new place. Yeah. So.
Oh, you know what who I forgot to mention earlier? Peter Gabriel. I really like Peter Gabriel.
And he really likes you.
You call him
Petey, right?
And some Genesis, I think I'd be hard pressed to find an honest person to tell me that they don't think that there's some worth to Invisible Touch. It is a solid album, and I think people who try to diminish that, I think, are just trying to be contrarian for the sake of being contrarian.
But
I'm just trying to impress us. I'm not.
Joe was talking to me the other day. He goes, I was talking to Phil Collins. Phil, I hate to say this, buddy, but I think Petey's version of the band was better.
I'm with you. I agree that Peter Gabriel, that whole thing that was you know. But you know, I'm just saying, Invisible Touch is a good album. I'm not saying it's better than when, you know, Peter was really there. Who gives the band to a drummer?
Honestly, I would rather have Christopher Walken singing on that "I Know What You Did." It's all been a pack of lies. Can we get Christopher Walken start singing?
Don't tempt me.
I will. I'll also throw this out there. I'm surprised we've made it this far in the history of humanity in film,
and nobody's dropped Wes's name again.
Yeah, but no one that I've noticed has put out a horror movie that ironically uses Something Happened on the Way to Heaven by Phil Collins, while the slasher is trying to get the slash-e.
You'd have to slow it down in, you know, the tradition of, you know, where it's like you take like a Eurythmics song and you said, "Sweet dreams are made of," and you're like, "Oh, this song's taking forever."
Yeah. It's like, oh, it was faster when they did it because that's how it works. Now, and I'm not saying that Sweet Revenge, which is the album that song is on, is their best. I'm a little more into Touch. I think that is probably my favorite album of theirs. It might be Touch Revenge. You know, but yeah, I really enjoy the Eurythmics. Solid band.
Yeah, no, they were good. That Annie Lennox, she you know, she might have a future.
Really great, really great stuff.
All right, Joe. Desert Island. You can only have 3 records with you. What are you taking?
Does he also have a record player? Because otherwise,
yeah. For the sake, Annie's got an outlet to plug it into. Did you see that thing Mike Barron posted yesterday? City folks in the country, and a guy's like holding an outlet or holding a plug, about to plug into a pig's snout.
Yeah, the pig's like looking through like a knot.
Anyway,
fence. I did see that.
Your 3 albums.
I'm a little more into Touch. Joe Corallo, 2023.
Yeah, no, that's so. 3 albums is really tough. Because as soon as you say that, I'm like, damn, I can only pick 1 Bowie album, or else this is. And
do you go best of Bowie? Do you just?
Yeah, you know, like here's the thing. I'm enough of a music snob where I'm like, you don't bring a best of. We're talking an album. We're not doing no compilations here.
So I say to Dave, no, I call him Dave.
But and the problem is, it's like, do I go a little basic? Do I go a little pretentious? Like, because I feel like definitely with Bowie, I think this is tough. It's so tough. I think I'm torn, but I think it's Hunky Dory. It was that or Low. Those were the 2 I was really torn between. And then I have to think about so I think Hunky Dory, and then I think
So you were torn between 2 Bowies, feeling like a fool.
But I think Hunky Dory. I think here again is where it's like, this is probably going to come up pretentious, but it's the Smiths. But it's Strange Ways, Here We Come. I think I have that one.
That's a good choice.
I think that's the one. I think that's and then only 3. Here's the thing. I'm not sure. This is a mix of nostalgia. I do think it's a really good album. I don't think it's the 3rd best album like ever, and this is going to be a little out of left field. Janet Jackson's Velvet Rope.
That is out of left field. I would not have expected that.
But it might be. because now if I have 3 albums, I have to like vary it up a bit, and like there's those. But I think that might be the 3.
Well, you only need one Morrissey/Smiths album because as Dana Gould once pointed out, that's all you need. It's just all I cried and I cried.
So
and I died.
here's a question. Here's a question for you guys, relating to music too. If now take your main characters that you're writing, what would be their favorite music to listen to? You think?
What is Morrissey's favorite music to listen to while he's writing?
Death Rage, and then same with Born in the Blood, and Dawn in the Dark.
Say, what's the question again?
Like your character, based on their personality, what would be their song? Like their song they like.
Well, Death Rage would be "Let the Bodies Hit the Floor" by Drowning Pool.
Mine, it's Anvil of Crom, from the Conan the Barbarian soundtrack. That's what
I was gonna say. That's probably for your character.
Anvil of
Meow
Crom
would be Tom Jones' "What's New, Pussycat."
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
And by the way, Joe, in relation to the question I just asked you, it's a good thing your brother's not listening to the stream. Because like, where's the sheer terror? Damn it!
That's true. Their that like first album, the one with like roses on it and stuff like that, I do think is a very good album. But yeah, it's and like again, it's tough. There are other albums that I really love. Like I like Search and Destroy from the Stooges is a contender with Iggy Pop's The Idiot. I really love that.
Which has nothing to do with Bowie producing, but
yeah,
I feel like I want to take a Susie and the Banshees album as one of mine.
Yeah, that's a good one. Also, Devo's Freedom of Choice that's up there for me.
That's really good.
It's a really good album.
These are those questions though. Where it's like Sophie's Choice. When you start thinking of other albums, you're like, oh wait, maybe I'd replace this one with that one.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like asking like what 3 graphic novels.
Speaking of Sophie's Choice, the new Batman Zdarsky had not Zdarsky, my bad. Mark Silvestri put a Sophie's Choice into his issue. I thought that was kind of interesting. I was like, I don't think I've ever seen that in comic form. I think the only time I saw that was Batman Dark Knight.
Well, they've done that in probably 60 or 70.
I don't have your comic book knowledge. So take me personally.
Supermans, but it turns out he's so fast he doesn't have to worry about it.
You shouldn't be a superhero because sooner or later somebody's gonna come along and offer you a sadistic choice.
It's true.
My favorite thing about that is that Spider-Man just stands there like a dumbass, like going, instead of like moving and like trying to like get a jump on the situation, he's just like, yeah, okay, well, no, tell me more. Tell me more about the sadistic choice.
Pixie's Doolittle is up there too. I just want to throw that. I don't want someone leaving this stream and being like, Joe didn't even mention the Pixies. Fuck that guy.
Wave of mutilation is
but you went with the wrong Pixies, but that's okay.
You're a Surfer Rosa guy. I get it.
No, I'm Trump Lamont.
You're a Trump Lamont. Okay. That's fair.
Well, I think part of it is that was the first one I heard.
Yeah,
because and then I went back and listened to the others. I think sometimes when bands like that have a nice little catalog to pick from.
Yeah,
I think the first one you're exposed to a lot of times ends up being your favorite.
Oh, for sure. I really like. Isn't Alec Eiffel on that album? I like that song a lot.
I know it. I like it, but I don't know it well enough to know the song titles.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, no, that's on there. It's got to be. Yeah, so no, that's a really good song.
And you left out Sonic Youth.
Well, I did leave out Sonic Youth, but again, it's one of those things where it's like it's tough because there's a lot of really good Do I go?
Oh, there's only one choice with Sonic Youth. As good as they are, there's only one choice.
Okay. What's your one choice?
I won't lie. Tell me what yours would be, and I'll tell you if you got it right.
I mean, I feel like I'm not going to get it right. I feel like I feel like because my choice would be Goo.
Brian's gonna yell at you like Phil Hartman playing on the McLaughlin Group. Wrong.
Now I say, no, Mr. Corallo. I call him Mr. Corallo.
I call him Joe.
It's Daydream Nation. Damn it!
I knew you were gonna say Daydream, which is why I was like, I'm gonna be wrong. But,
have we lost the chat yet? Is the chat just like, what are these guys talking about?
If you've been around, if you've watched enough Angleton chats, you know that almost all of them, about half of them, devolve into music talk.
The last post was 8:46. Saying goodbye to someone else who was on the chat leaving. Going to eat food.
Someone out there in the chat's just like, fuck both these guys. It's Bad Moon Rising. It just stormed out.
Well, that's
a good choice.
Adversaries come together.
I guess
That's a good choice.
I do like Bad Moon Rising. I wouldn't put it as my top album, but I do enjoy that album.
So
I can't trust this guy's opinion on anything.
Here's another question, piggyback out of there: vinyl or CD?
Reel to reel.
8-track.
Well, no, I mean
it's the superior format
because they have these people do not. Some people do not like how CDs compresses the sound of the music. They like actually having the record.
No, I totally get it. If I had a choice, like, and I'm just there to like enjoy it, like, yeah, like.
Would you go and buy all records, or do you guys usually just you buy digital music, or do you buy CDs? What is your CDs are really kind of extinct now, but
yeah, I mean, right now, it's been a long time since I bought physical media for music because, as you can all attest to, I already have a lot of physical comics, graphic novels, and things like that.
You have no room for anything else.
I only have so much room for things. So,
actually, he's actually sleeping. His bed is right where he lays down. That's how much
He
room.
barely has room for his thoughts in there.
No, I mean I'm in the same boat. Like I'm pretty much out of room.
Well, if
It's
you
the
took down
tree.
that tree.
Big giant tree.
Well, let me tell you, when this tree comes down, you know what you're going to see behind me? Storage
Boxes.
tubs, because I'm going to be pulling stuff out of my closets and reorganizing it here, and then moving it back to where it goes.
Laserdisc or CD. Well, I mean, I think it's kind of funny though because I see cassettes coming back, and I've seen record players being made sold down stores.
But you get cassettes, and then you got to go buy a number 2 pencil just in case.
Yeah,
Like,
here's that's what I was going to Aaron. For all the people that think cassettes are cool, they're the same people that thought that 70s show was cool because you weren't around the 70s to wear those hideous clothes. The people that like cassettes have never had their player eat one yet. You will change your tune.
I gotta say, I like the attire that the ladies would wear in the 60s and 70s, okay?
Because those people don't have a number 2 pencil either because they've been using their keyboard for the last how many years. So.
But I mean, also, I got to apologize to everybody here. I can't bring up stuff like that without saying pet sounds. I sound like an asshole.
Well, Joe, let me just say, as another music aficionado, that asshole you may be, but Pet Sounds is a perfect choice.
It's really, really good.
Pet Sounds.
Guys, don't sleep on Pet Sounds, guys.
It's the favorite of
on the fence up until now.
33% of the assholes on this stream agree. Pet Sounds is a CD.
Guys, it's a really good album. Those Beach Boys, like they.
Okay, see now because I was like, what the hell is Pet Sounds? You see, make the animal noises. I don't listen. I'm the person
quitting this channel.
Hey, I'm the person that buys the best of digital stuff because I don't want
to come out with your 11th album and have it be Pet Sounds is just amazing. Like that's just you've reached a.
What was amazing
You've
with
done
that?
10 other albums.
It's. I mean, obviously it was such a departure, and he put his heart, his soul, a good chunk of his sanity into that one record.
Quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
And John and Paul just roll out of bed and do Sgt. Pepper.
Yeah.
And I know that was, I said that, was so hard for, I guess, anybody trying to compete with the Beatles at that time.
Yeah.
It'd be tough for me to be on a desert island without a little bit of Leonard Cohen.
Yeah, that's respectable.
Did you see the person that posted the picture of Leonard Cohen with the Skinnerd logo? That was cool.
I have a T-shirt with Kiss on it that says Led Zeppelin.
I was, after watching that movie The Martian with Matt Damon, I was wondering, like, what would I actually, if I was stuck somewhere for a long time, what comic books would I have with me if I really had a choice or TV to watch, and it gets down to the place. It's on the Sophie choice. What can I read over and over again and not get bored with? And then if I'm there for like an unknown amount of time, that's the other thing too. It's like, am I there stranded there forever, or am I? And you can't. Yeah, so you have a limited amount. So my question is, you can only bring 5 comic books or 5 albums. Music albums, close to.
Does comic books include trades?
Well, if you want to bring a trade, sure. But if you want to make it harder, we could do floppies.
Floppies is tough.
Yes.
Floppies is tough. I mean, could do it, but Lord knows Breen and I can do it from having done all those retrospectives. But
I kind of feel like at this point I should kiss somebody's ass and pick one of these guys' book.
it's a desert island you might never come back from. We'll understand.
Yeah, no. I'm
Actually-
okay with you having 5 books that are ahead of anything I have.
Honestly, for Breen's point of view, it wouldn't be a desert island; it'd be a retirement home.
We know he's picking Spider-Man.
Okay. The first thing, if I'm stuck on a desert island, I eventually run out of cigarettes, and then I just go berserk and like run into the ocean, and that's it.
No, you make your own cigarettes out of coconuts, like the professor did on Gilligan's Island. I'm sure I saw an episode of that.
That and the floppies that he has to eventually tear up for paper.
Coconut.
He's gonna roll up the. Oh man.
Oh.
It's like, no. Man.
So
In that case,
now-
he can just pick modern books.
Now I feel like I should go ahead and turn over to my asshole side and say that's when I
So
wish I
can
had
you
a
guys
copy
actually
of,
choose Can you guys actually choose which 5 trades you would take with you as far as comic books?
I
mean, I could give
trades are a
floppies,
lot
too,
easier.
like,
I could do.
Yeah.
No, I mean either way.
Let's hear it. It's so easy.
It's a lot easier.
I'm thinking mine out. Give me a few minutes. I'm writing mine out. I'm going through my Rolodex of what I have on my bookshelf.
I just gotta say, out of all the musical talk, that the one album that I know for certain I would take is "Changes in Latitude, Changes in Attitude" by Jimmy Buffett.
You could throw Nick Spencer's Secret Empire omnibus in there. You want to?
I mean, that wouldn't be in my bottom 5. Heroes in Crisis would be.
Like the top 5 worst comic books you ever read. You're stuck to read those. What would they be?
So there'd be that. There'd be anything Krakoa X-Men after Hickman left would be in the bottom there.
Any Tom King?
Oh yeah, like Heroes in Crisis would be like that. I mean, there'd be like I could populate the list just with Tom King because I'm just not a fan of what he does.
Wait, did you say Jason aired Avengers?
No. Oh, that would be on there too. But Tom King's Strange Adventures would be on there.
Oh, Strange Adventures. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No. What he did to Mr. Terrific is borderline irredeemable.
Well, okay, so it's not to mention what he did to Guy Gardner and Martian Manhunter in the next series.
Yeah, the Human Target.
Now, okay, speaking of Tom King, he is 2 issues into something that I've liked both issues of. When does the other shoe drop? Because it's going to. That Danger Street has actually been good.
I'm enjoying Danger Street.
Okay, Joe, when does it go?
I
Predict an issue.
How many is it supposed to be? 8?
12.
12.
12? I'm gonna say issue 8.
All right, I'm going to go under.
I think around 6, you're going to start to go, where is this going? And then by 8, you're going to go, oh, wait, I don't know. I don't like this at all. That's what I think. So.
Aaron right there. I love comics. Oh, he's like Move Choo channel. He's doing his I love movies. He says issue 7. So
I was going to say that, but I will now go with, let's see, 8, 7, and 6 have been taken. Oh, what the hell? I'll go 5 because if I'm right, then I can save 7 issues worth of money.
There you go.
I have nothing in this game.
wait,
Is there a trade paperback that collects both Mark Gruenwald's Captain America run that has the Bloodstone Hunt and Streets of Poison? Because if I could get both of those,
they're two separate ones.
They're two separate ones.
damn
Has there
it.
been an epic collection that runs through both of them?
They
They
have
have-
two separate epic collections of them. Yeah.
Okay,
if you
'cause I
want
said-
though, we can give you a collection of Takeshi coats.
I'm all right. I think I'd be okay.
It's got beautiful covers though. It's got Alex on there.
I'm trying to cut down.
trying to cut down. All those trees were killed for nothing.
No, I unabashedly love that Gruenwald
Oh yeah.
Captain America run, especially if we were talking floppies. One of my floppies would be off the top of my head, I can't recall the exact number, but it's during Acts of Vengeance where Magneto shows up to get his pound of flesh from the Red Skull. I love that issue. Like,
I think it's 368.
I think you might be right. It's got that great
Because
cover of
when he
Magneto.
leaves them in the dungeon with the like things of jugs of water.
Yeah, I take
That
my
is
leave
awesome.
of you, Skull. You know, it's
Yeah.
like fantastic.
So Joe,
Yeah,
you
it
know
is
everything about
368.
comic books, and you know everybody. You knew Mark Greenwald. He called him Marky, Mark. You know, whatever.
He was dead, but I do know his wife.
Is it true that
And he calls her Mark, which is
Wait
really
a
awkward.
minute.
Check this out. This is in Sean's office. Signed by Mark Grunwald, JR, and Fabian. Yeah.
Nice.
So
That's
my
amazing.
question is, there was this.
Anesthesia or the rock star?
I always whenever I read anything on Wikipedia with a grain of salt because I don't know how much has been edited by people who don't really know what they're doing or just putting stuff in there. Apparently, his ashes were put into Squadron Supreme.
Mhm.
In the
Yeah,
ink.
the first printing of the trade. Mhm.
Yep.
That's a real thing. Do you
Yeah.
do you guys know anybody who actually has a copy of those? Like, does ever be like, this is Mark right here? I'm so close to Mark right now. There's ashes in it.
They just
Oh, some
did,
of the ink's coming off on my fingers. It's like we're
it's all
connected.
great.
they did that again recently in a recent reprint of Contest of Champions.
Wait, they dug up Mark and just did some more stuff.
No, I think that they had some ashes. And
Yeah, they
Someone's been saving him for all this long. I mean, who
You just take
keeps
a
the
little
ashes
bit
in
more
a
of
in a urn in a garage? Just
yeah,
waiting
they
for
take
the
a
use
little
of
bit
it.
more.
I mean,
Mom?
you know, this is all part
She's
of
a beautiful
you know,
urn.
Sorry.
I'm sure these are all, you know, according to like directives from, you know, his family. It's not like some
Yeah, nobody's
guy.
sneaking in, and then like, you know, like Tom Brevoort isn't, you know, diamond dashing from the sushi place. and
I got
sneaking
some
in
Stan
there,
Lee
you know,
here. Who wants some
Grunwald's-
Stan Lee?
It reminds me, I can't remember the name. I believe it was the comic book artist who went ahead and for the graphic novel release of Supreme Squadron for the first printing, they had their ashes mixed into the ink.
Yeah.
And then just that.
That's,
So
that's
if
what
you
we're
have
that's what we're talking
talking
about.
about.
We're talking about
Oh,
Mark
wow.
Grunwald, yeah.
sorry, I got distracted by talking to 15 other people.
Well, we're sorry that you're so popular.
I'm not. I just have people yelling at me because I'm a puppet.
Well, you know, Joe is on 17.3 streams a day, and he's kept up with the conversation.
Yeah, Joe's
Sure.
actually
Be better, Pixel.
We don't know. Is actually Joe's currently on another stream right now. He's just like, you know. So he says for a minute when he pauses, he turns, talks to them over here. He's got multiple cameras.
No, Joe's
Yeah,
actually
true.
the multiple man. He's the inspiration for Jamie.
Yeah,
Bennett.
I'm watching another Joe stream right now.
And not the DC multiple man that was introduced in Action Comics 330, but the Marvel version.
That's right.
You really do need some tape glasses.
You know, I'm sure soon at Hobby Lobby you're gonna be able to buy a sign of Superman characters, and Mad Rocks will just be in there for some inexplicable reason.
Do it. Why not?
At least I'm not still on the conversation about Marvel Scarecrow being in a Batman poster. I've moved on from there.
But you don't get it. We could literally talk about that for hours. just that. We could not move on from that and all be fairly entertained talking about just that.
No, I can talk about the Ebenezer Lawton Scarecrow for quite a while, actually. Like, you know,
Right. I'd rather talk about Peter.
Okay, let me tell you how nerdy.
Remember when Captain America and Ghost Rider had to fight him together?
Yes. So the
That was
other day,
great.
Joe calls me, and our conversation, a good part of our conversation was just me going through the update 89 of the Marvel Handbook and asking Joe, hey, you remember this character? And then us having a conversation about that character, whether we remembered it, whether it was, you know,
You're
what
like,
happened to that
Google,
character?
who's
How
this
come
character?
nobody's done this before. Like, the one that we were both like, yeah, whatever happened to that character was Poison.
Yeah.
You know, she was just a chick with an outfit that was mostly fishnets with like a little, you know, and she was like a Cuban refugee, and she was like her mind was inhabited by an alien, and she was going around and killing like all the men who had wronged her, and like she first appeared in a Spider-Man annual, and they were kind of like, this is like, you know, this character's a big deal, and then nothing.
Don't you love it when that happens?
I'm surprised that Ghostmaker's still around after Tynion's left Batman, because
they're really trying to leverage that. I think. Like,
He's
think
got
they
those
really
big hammer
want to.
pants.
is Clown Hunter still around too?
Oh, I don't think Clown Hunter is off the table. I just think they've been focusing on some other things right now.
He's in the Batman Incorporated title. Where
I was gonna say,
yeah.
The new is even called, well, it's called Batman Incorporated, but is even the group called Batman Incorporated anymore? Aren't they just called Moon? Whatever it's called.
It's still called Batman Incorporated, but they have a theme song that rips off Kids Incorporated. You guys remember that?
No.
No, look that up, Joe. It'll change your life.
I'm that old. Kids Incorporated with my favorite
Kids
show.
Incorporated happened, and we all let it happen.
Yeah.
And it's still happening. It never goes
It was
away.
almost as popular as Alyssa Milano's Teen Steam. Look that up.
I feel like I should not look these things up.
I feel like you should.
Or when Alanis Morissette was on You Can't Do That on Television, that was a fun show.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Remember when she wrote that song about Dave Coulier? Like
You think when that first came on the radio, he was just like had it on. It was like by the end was like, oh fuck.
So then Taylor Swift heard that song and then decided to make a career based off of guys.
Well, the thing that nobody really talks about is I'm pretty sure she was underage at the time that she was with Dave Coulier. So
cut it out.
You know what you need to cut out? Pedophilia. Cut it out.
In Hollywood, get out of here.
Hey, Alanis, got any wood?
But no, it's God. What else was it? Because there was that, and then
But Joe, we can't fault him though. He's Canadian. They're the nicest people.
Canadians make the nicest pedophiles. They're so polite.
Sorry.
Allegedly. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Oh, look, the channel just got a strike.
But
It's about damn time.
In the audience, so weird.
But no, I enjoyed that. I also enjoyed the Adventures of Pete and Pete a lot, which was basically like it was basically Twin Peaks for kids.
Yes. Love that show. Love it.
That was kind of. I always felt Gravity Falls had a little touch of that too.
Speaking of Twin Peaks,
you know,
fans of Twin Peaks, check out Extreme Movie Show. Pixel and our friend Rob went through like the whole entire series plus the new series, and now then they went through The Prisoner, and now they're on Dark Shadows.
Dark Shadows.
I hope you mean the Prisoner remake.
I wish, because the end of the original Prisoner killed me.
Now, which order did you watch it in? There's a couple different orders you can watch the episodes in.
We watched it in the recommended order, the first order that has it does have the first episode that was made in place, and then it has a couple that were swapped around technically, but it was just, it doesn't matter what order you watch it in, the end is the end.
But
I
I
used
do
to
have
watch
to tell you
reruns
though,
I used to watch reruns of Falcon Crest just because there was a guy on it who played a newspaper man named Richard, and he was the actor who played the werewolf on Dark Shadows.
David
And I had
Selby.
caught Dark
Like
Shadows
David
in
Selby, yeah.
syndication. Yeah, I had caught it in syndication,
Quentin
and so I would watch it just for him. And then
Remember
Melek
when-
showed up?
Remember when
Melek
Lana
showed up
Turner
on the
checked
third
into
Magnus
Falcon Crest?
I was just going to say before that you didn't watch it, the First Order, because the First Order, I believe, are the primary antagonists in the Star Wars prequel trilogy.
Let's not talk that. Let's not.
You know what's great is when you pay your money and you go to Disneyland and you go to Galaxy's Edge, you're like, I'm going to go to the Star Wars land. You get there and it's all sequel shit. It's so
Well,
Yeah,
actually,
that was-
right now they.
I don't. What are you guys talking about? Sequel stuff? I don't. There's only history movies.
Right now, at least over here, I'm in Florida, so Disney World's around the corner. We have apparently the Mandalorian walking around and stuff, so that's cool.
yeah.
Everyone knows Star Wars ended with Ewoks 2: The Battle for Endor. Nothing after that counts.
Nothing after that happened.
What's the one with Wilford Brimley? Was that the one he was in?
No, I think he's brutally murdered in that one.
Okay.
Speaking to a prequels fan, that's not fair.
Honestly, I thought Star Wars ended with the Christmas special.
My favorite thing about that, if you guys get a chance, if you haven't seen the Star Wars Christmas special, and if you haven't, what are you doing with your life?
Dear God, we reviewed it.
Living it.
Sit through it, and it's worth it just for a coked out of her mind Carrie Fisher, who apparently insisted on singing, and she's singing the Life Day song to the tune of the Star Wars theme, while Harrison Ford is just marveling at his life choices. Like, he's just standing there next to her, and you can tell his face is just like, what is going on? How did I end up here? And in that moment, he was like, I gotta get George to kill me. I gotta get out of here.
And it didn't happen.
Honestly, the best part of the whole entire special, apart from the Wookiees, we don't know what the heck they're saying whatsoever, and the one tries to jump in the very beginning, and we wanted to be that little Wookiee. He's got to jump off the railing.
Yes.
But no, the best part is actually being Arthur in the cantina.
Those
I thought the best part
were
was-
the days, my friend.
I thought the best part was when Art Carney brings Chewbacca's father a pornography machine. And he's there watching porn in the living room.
The kids watching the little hologram dancing and stuff. It's just like, wow, this is the pinnacle of Lucas CG.
You realize how much cocaine was floating around Hollywood, and all of it was in that writer's room.
poor Mark Hamill, because at that point when it was made, it was right after his accident.
Yeah,
so his face was.
We
he
watched
looks
it.
so weird. Like, they've got so much makeup caked on him, and they've got eyeliner, and he just looks like a weird puppet.
Isn't it?
Hey.
Harvey Korman in that special.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
You
he
get
was
a
like
lot
the
of-
chef. He was like the TV chef.
Harvey
Yeah.
Korman. Yeah.
So George, as I call him, he had said he was trying to get rid of all those copies of the special because it's so bad. Pixel and I, we watched it live on YouTube on a live stream, or actually no, we watched it offline, but we recorded it. It's on the Extreme Movie Show. We did our first reaction to that thing, and it's just so bad. Of course, because we don't want to show because we don't want to get a strike because the content. But still, I would strike myself if I had forced anybody to listen to it.
I think we actually did show it, didn't we? Because
we
it's
did towards the
technically
end.
on YouTube. It's technically it is on YouTube for you to watch, and that's how we
you're
showed
right.
it.
We did show it, but we didn't show any sound though.
No, that's right. There's no sound, so all you hear is me dying inside because it was my first time watching.
If you did broadcast the entire thing, you would get a strike from George Lucas, who would drive to your house and punch you in the stomach.
Joe, this is
Well, it might be worth it just to see
you guys-
George Lucas.
Do you guys understand that came out at a time when there were 3 channels? So everybody watched that back in the day, and somehow Star Wars still survived and thrived, but it's not surviving like The Last Jedi. Like,
Actually,
it's just limping along with a mortal wound that's been inflicted. That's how bad The Last Jedi is.
Actually, there was one person who had a chance to watch it because he got in trouble, and that was Ingleton. It's his mom. He was basically so she basically made him go to bed early, so he didn't get a chance to watch it. She spared him.
His mom loved him.
Joe, this is for you. The first time someone looked at Mark Hamill after the accident, they looked and I said, "That's Montgomery Clift, honey." See, because that feeds into his music and his
there you go.
sense of the bizarre.
You know, I mean, it was crazy though that Dave Crosby passed away the other day. I was like, finally, a musician that died that everyone was like, that makes sense.
I would have liked it if you would have just said finally and left it there. It's just like,
But yeah, that was like, because for so long it's been like, oh, they're like too young or a little too young, or that's a real shame. But when he passed the other week, everyone was kind of like,
I said that makes sense when I heard that Amy Winehouse died.
You know what they say?
That tracks.
Now, when any of these old rockers die, they just like go, "My God, it's still not Keith Richards."
Yeah.
How
is he still
it's
alive?
wild.
Didn't the drummer from Rolling Stones, did he pass away?
Well, he died of natural causes. They're that old.
I know, but like the fact that Keith Richards is still pounding away, he has done every other drug that you.
Well, he's
perfectly
been
preserved.
Well, he's also been inexplicably clean for a pretty long time now.
Yeah.
I mean, not that it's that. I mean, I'm sure he probably got the Steve Earle talk. You know, you take one more, you smoke one more, you drink when you're dead. But which was it? Was it Watts or Wyman that died?
Watts, I think it was.
Because I mean, he was several years older than Mick, Keith, and what Brian would have been if Brian hadn't lost the battle for control of the band in that pool incident.
Can you imagine
Allegedly.
being older than Mick Jagger?
Even I can't picture that hair.
It's
Mick Mortis.
Just speaking of Keith Richards being clean, one of my favorite interviews with Robert Downey Jr. is, I can't remember what show it's on. It's one of those late night shows. Maybe it's Conan. But he sits down and the host asks him, like, "Oh, you look great. What's your secret?" And he gets this smile on his face and he goes, "Oh, just good, clean living."
One of my favorite pictures, and Super 70 Sports posted a couple times a year. It's from like Live Aid or Farm Aid, whatever it is, and it's Hall and Oates, Springsteen, Tina Turner, Bob Dylan, Mick and Keith, and I can't remember who the other one said. If you would have taken odds that all 8 of these people would still be alive in 2022.
Joe Walsh is another one. I'm surprised Joe Walsh is still hanging around with as much drugs.
No Hall and Oates on the island, Joe? You're not bringing any.
It's just funny because like I never knew there really was such a good thing as the Deadpool. I mean, I've but apparently there are people who take bets on like what celebrities are gonna be going.
Well, it's funny they posted one for all the aging rockers, and they had like 40 of them on there. And one guy who's not on the list, Tom Verlaine, drops dead later in the week.
The problem with these like celebrity death pools is like you start making a joke about like Dakota Fanning like years and years ago, and then she gets old enough where it doesn't matter. Like the odds now and the money you get, it's not even worth making the joke anymore.
Yeah, you see her in that. They see her in a Tarantino film. It's like, oh yeah, she's still alive. I forgot about her.
Yeah, good for her.
Yeah.
Speaking of Keith Richards, he said he went whatever decision made him go clean. Maybe he saw Winona Ryder, the anti-drugs ad where she just basically smashed the whole entire kitchen.
No, that's Rachel Lee Cook.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Rachel Lee Cook. Thank you. Another actress that I don't think she's still acting. Where is she? I don't think she.
No, it's a shame.
Angry.
I know.
But
people were like, she's violent.
So I wonder if that was filmed at his kitchen, and that's why he sobered up.
I was gonna say it was a misunderstanding. She thought they were like Rachel Lee, cook.
Oh,
Just loses a frying pan.
That's sexist, and just started smashing.
you know,
Yeah,
I don't know. They
fucking
were in a
lost
meth lab.
It's true.
that's been popping up recently. That some of the old unaired, like don't do drugs. Your drugs and it has like the bands who were forced to kind of do this for like a PR thing, and you watch them. They don't even care. They're like, yeah, don't do drugs. It's just like, are they on drugs?
White Lines. Those guys were so coked out of their mind while they were performing White
But
Lines.
here's one thing I vividly remember as a kid is, I was all in on Pee-wee's Playhouse. I had the whole action figure set and all that. I was all in on that, and they had that like anti-drug PSA commercial with Pee-wee where it's just like him under like a spotlight and he's just like holding drugs and he's like, this is crack, and he's like going into it, and it was so jarring for me, like seeing that, being like, this doesn't feel like.
Wait, did he do it like Pee-wee though, where he's like, this is crack, like
Yeah, he talks like Pee-wee. He's in character.
This is true.
It's strange because nobody was higher than the king of cartoons. Like every time that guy came in, he's like, "Le cartoon."
Yeah.
Begin.
See, yeah, the Dare program. I remember that. It's like I don't remember if the Dare program was like they came in is you see the chat D how they abbreviate it. I never know. I still this. I have no idea what it means. All I know, there's a cartoon lion, and I gotta go a window cling, and I put it on my window, and it for like 30 years, finally got rid of it because it faded away.
Here in Indiana, that is still a vanity plate you can get. You can pay to have a Dare license plate here in Indiana. So,
that was big in the late 80s, and it turns out I read that wrong. I took that to mean just say no to Dare. That explains a lot.
Do you guys remember like saying nope to dope and ugh to drugs? And even as a kid, that really bothered me because I was like, why are you saying ugh? I don't even understand. Like I get nope to dope, like that makes sense to me, but like ugh to drugs, like someone's gonna be like, hey, you want this marijuana? And you're gonna be like, ugh.
Is that what Charlie Brown would say?
I remember being in elementary school and having all the kids go to the auditorium for a screening of Cartoon All-Stars to the Rescue.
Yes, I had that on VHS. I had it. Oh my god, I'll never forget that.
Have a good night, Paulo.
It was always weird for me to be like exposed to all those Dare commercials and all of that when my mom was shacked up with a drug dealer. So it was like there's just big bags of pot on the on the dining room table. You're like, something's not right here.
Your school was cooler than mine. We just had hide under the desk for nuclear fallout drills.
Hey, that works.
Well, nowadays, don't they just give the kids the drugs and be like, here, try it,
Well, in California, they do. They have, just areas on the playground where you can shoot up, where it's, it's safe. We'll give you the needles. We don't want you getting them out there on the street.
They're playing craps, like for cigarettes.
Well, there was an old commercial. I don't even remember what it was. Try it, you'll like it. I think the drug dealers just incorporated into their pitch.
Mikey,
the problem always becomes like I never got into any of that because I got to see it like live and in person. What that lifestyle kind of is.
Whatever happened to your parents giving you the beer to try? You're like, oh, now I don't want to drink anymore.
Well, that's why I never started smoking. I didn't have the perseverance. I didn't commit to the bit like Breen did. I took that first hit of a cigarette and was like, oh, I'm so cool right now. And then I hacked out my lungs for like 30 minutes, and I was like,
I'm gonna tell you right now, Breen is like Bill Clinton. He smoked, but he didn't inhale.
Well, there's that great Norm Macdonald bit about that, where it's just like, so I wasn't very cool, and girls didn't think it was cool, and I thought, well, if I start smoking, maybe I'll look cool, and would you believe it? I looked cool.
It There is something about there's something about like I mean like look, Breen's just more visually interesting. He's when he's got a cigarette, he can sit there and he can just be like and he can make a point. He can point it at us.
One of these days, I remember back when I was young. When I was
it gives you something to do with your hands. Whereas like me in a conversation, I'm like.
I quit smoking for 8 months. I was painfully dull.
Are you like Will Ferrell?
But can you imagine if I had Pixel's fingers though? You never see the cigarette in them.
This finger is for you, Breen.
Look at that.
Here, bring that closer. I'll light that and smoke it.
It's like Danny Longlegs.
You'll be smoking that for years.
This just went to a strange and dark place.
So
I just thought it was most funny the fact that he's a professor and he has the lounge thing as his icon, but he never wears a robe or the pipe.
Do you have the tweed patches on the sleeves? Because otherwise, I can't take you seriously.
No, I don't. I sadly don't. I'm sorry.
He does have a robe though. But it looks like freaking Harry Potter though in it though.
It's a Jedi robe.
But Aaron, would you take him seriously even if he did?
Going back to what Joe said about the Kiss shirt with the with Led Zeppelin on it. Which
are we still talking about Supreme Squadron and the?
Didn't you almost get beat up one time for wearing that?
How many beers have you had?
So this actually happened. This was at Dallas Fan Expo. Aaron and I were staying at a hotel. It was like out of like Twin Peaks. Like there was just like a woman up front who was like kind of, because that was the first night. So she was like kind of sort of not knowing what she was doing exactly, which would be a lot fun the next day, but that's another thing. But she's like kind of weird and off, and there's like weird trinkets on the counter, and there's just this guy who like turns over and looks at my shirt, which is Kiss with Led Zeppelin on it, and looks at me and goes like, "Anyone ever punch you for wearing that shirt?"
Yeah, like he was like super serious about it, like.
And I was like, no, haven't.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah. Not yet, but I was just like,
that guy was weird.
I use like another example of something of like, oh, what if someone was wearing a shirt like that? Would you find that like? But he was just kind of like, yeah, but like, not that. Like he. Like if it was like another kind of shirt with another, but something about that combination.
We didn't establish
him so much.
We didn't establish who's like on whose behalf he was offended. Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, we never found out. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm just wondering if you wore that shirt into a bar around closing time, or you think people would look around and go, "Yeah, I've had enough."
So because of Joe having that shirt, I saw one that was it's Harry Potter, but it says Doctor Who, and I bought it.
Nice.
Oh,
because I don't care about either one of those.
I was gonna say, is there any
I'm
difference?
a fan of both, and that hurts me.
I've just never gotten into either. Like I've never read a Harry Potter book. I've never seen a movie all the way through. I've seen little.
Isn't that
I run
though?
a Doctor Who channel called Mad Men with a Box. That's how much of a fan.
Isn't it funny though? As far as Doctor Who, it's become more relevant as soon as they went to a woman. Doctor Who? What?
Aaron, I think we ought to.
Okay, that's the end.
I like to frustrate Doctor Who fans. Like, I was just like, oh yeah, Doctor Who, where he's just like running around like, hey, I'm Doctor Who. Here I am with my whimsical companions, Hermione Granger and Margaret Thatcher. Woo-hoo,
You were fine until you said Hermione Granger. Margaret Thatcher could happen.
I did like Harry Potter when Lindsay Lohan was playing her in that Saturday Night Live sketch.
Exactly.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's like
with Seth Meyers.
Developed over the summer.
I'm a big fan of like a lot of like like classic Who, I
Tom
really
Baker.
love Tom Baker, you Patrick Troughton, a big Patrick Troughton fan, you're John Pertwee's, you're really everything through even once you're getting away from the William Graham era and you're entering into the John Nathan Turner era, and the more sort of progressed in the John Nathan Turner era, I felt like he had a lot of purpose in the beginning. Like that last season with Tom Baker, really solid stuff, and going into the Peter Davison years. And I'm gonna stop here, but I just want all of you to know I could have just kept going for so long.
Joe, Joe, I call you Joe. You're welcome to join me on Mad Men with the Box.
And I was going to say this before, Aaron. Now I'm absolutely insisting on it. We need to start our own channel just called Nobody Cares.
There's a channel called what is that? People are just talking about popular culture things that we just have no frame of reference for. Like, for example, so everything I know about Harry Potter, I know through just cultural osmosis.
Yeah.
I know Dolores Umbridge apparently gets sexually assaulted by centaurs. I don't know why I know that, but I do.
There's an implication of it, and she
that
deserves it, but no.
I would love it if Dennis from Always Sunny was there. It's she's not going to say no to the centaurs because of the implication. But
are you saying she asked for it?
I know that there's a ghost. I know from pitch meeting that there's a ghost that tries to see Harry's way. I know.
Well, she was a teenage girl and had a crush on Harry. So yes, a ghost of a teenage girl with a teenage boy. So
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but we do have another stream after this.
Oh, the hell with that. Aaron, have you noticed how much Pixel looks like a young Harry Potter?
Okay, now it's time to end.
You do.
I once got called up to a comedy show, and it was the Comedy Barn up in Tennessee, and this one guy he had a magic act, and he called me up and he said, "Come on, Harry Potter, tell me a spell. Tell me a spell." I don't remember what. I think I said Expelliarmus or something, but one of the spells from it. But that's ingrained, and now I've heard that I look like Harry Potter.
So now Venkman, I know you said we got another stream, but let's be honest. None of these guys are ever coming back after tonight. You
talking about the chat?
But for the
we have people that want to read with us, read a comic book with us.
Graphic Man will fall asleep on us, and he will hate us for eternity.
But for this channel that someone should make, where it's just people not talking about anything that anyone cares about, the first stream should be a lively Bewitched debate. Are you Team Dick York or Team Dick Sargent?
Oh, Dick York! Come on, there's not even a question. And by the way, did you know that Uncle Arthur was only on 13 episodes?
Actually, I was only on 10. I saw that on the Super 70 Sports.
I love that. I love that account.
We could also do a beat for beat commentary on the Paul Lynde Halloween special once we're closer to Halloween, of course. I'm not crazy.
Did you ever see the Paul Lynde show?
No. I haven't seen much of it.
It was a sitcom.
I've seen the Halloween special, but yeah.
He plays a family man with kids that he just can't relate to. I mean, it was actually like Decades ran or something like that one weekend, and it was actually funny because the daughter married like a hippie or something, and I said it was. I mean, it was a standard sitcom, but it was actually kind of funny.
So I want to invite you guys. If you guys want to come with us, you're welcome to read with us on the next stream. We're just gonna read a Fantasy 4 book. You can be as silly as you want, as offensive as you want.
I appreciate that. I already have been on here longer than I was probably anticipating because I was just having so much fun. So I should use this as an excuse.
Yeah, you bring up reading with puppets, and us some of the people are just so weirdly
Eric,
I gotta go across the hall to my other stream. So,
are we going back to Max? Are we gonna?
Yes, I'm jumping back over there.
Oh my God, Max is still streaming.
He's still streaming with Kyle. Yeah.
Fucking wild.
Grab you, man. I'm just watching Pixel die slowly while Brain talks about ancient trivia.
You'll never see me die quite as much.
Are we wrapping this up before we we even get to talk about like Too Close for Comfort, starring Ted Knight?
I think so.
You want to talk about Alice with Vic Tayback?
You mean Too Close for Comfort with Bruce and Dick Grayson?
What?
They used to share a bed.
Thanks for having me on. I gotta get back to the stream.
But
How about an in-depth retrospective on the guy that played Monroe's career?
Oh, Jim J. Bullock.
Thank you. I couldn't remember his name.
Do you know why I remember that? Because I worked for a James Bullock, who turned out to be a real POS. But he used to get calls all the time from like Hollywood agents and things like that, like that were trying to find, like someone wanted Jim J. Bullock for I mean, not all the time, but like, at least once a year, he'd get a call for somebody who was looking for Jim J. Bullock and thought he might be him. It might have been people that he owed money. I'm assuming the best, that they wanted him for a project, but
sure.
But anything.
Is he still alive?
Ted Knight? No.
No.
I wish, because I just saw a Caddyshack commercial where what's his name from Succession and Long Kiss Goodnight and a million other things is playing the Ted Knight role. And then I can't remember who's playing the Rodney Dangerfield role, but it made me really sad because I was like, oh, everybody from Caddyshack is dead.
Well, it's what's weird is that
Except for Bill Murray.
When I think of Ted Knight, other than Caddyshack, I think of Mary Tyler Moore. Joe's already going, but he was the voice of Aquaman. But I said the last 4 people from Mary Tyler Moore all died in the same year.
Wow.
And the only one left is John Amos, Gordy the Weatherman.
Yeah.
Unless Chuckles the clown, whoever wore the makeup, he might say, I don't know, but so
Ed Asner hit me hard. I called him.
Really,
Ed.
What'd you say to him?
No, I actually. What's funny is I had met him numerous times.
You called him Ed.
And he would always joke around that like I was his nephew. So super super great. Met him at a ton of conventions. And one time I was doing one of those threads where I talk about beating up celebrities. Like, I say like I had to scissor kick. Like I picked the most anemic celebrities possible. So it's like, no, Angela Lansbury, she's a wonderful woman. I met her. She's fantastic. But she put her hands on me. All right. And you don't do that. So I scissor kicked her. And it was just like a thread of me being ridiculous and saying that I'd, gotten into fights with all these celebrities. I'd thrown Tom Hanks through a plate glass window, But then I said, I did get into a fight with Ed Asner, but he got the best of me and smashed my face into a car windshield. But then he took me out for a steak afterwards because he's a classy guy. And he actually liked it, and I think he retweeted it.
That's amazing.
If you ever get that urge to, whoop up on Angela Lansbury again, there's always Paul McCartney.
No, that's true. That's true.
According to Craig Ferguson, they were the same person.
So I gotta ask you in the chat, any final questions for these guys?
Actually, I was going to go ahead and say that we should go ahead and let them give where they can be found, even though we talked about it at the beginning. Go ahead.
All right. Who wants to go first?
Who wants to find us now after all this?
Yeah.
They're like, can you let me know where to find them so I can block them?
Yeah.
I guess we'll go with Joe first. You can show out yourself.
Yeah. Hey, I'm Joe Corallo. That's me, actually. Yeah, that's me. And I write comics. I edit comics. I do both of that at Merc Publishing and other publishers. I'm currently working on things like Born of Blood. And I'm also writing Dahlia in the Dark over at Mad Cave. It's coming out right now. You can get the first 2 issues. The third one is out next week. Born of Blood, 4th issue came out, so the 5th one's coming out soon. You can enjoy that. You can catch up on the previous issues. You can go to Merc's site. You can buy them there. You can buy Dahlia in the Dark and Mad Cave on their website. And you can also find me, Joe Corallo, on Twitter, at Joe Corallo.
All right.
Listen, I've been waiting to say it all night.
Go to Aaron.
But we talked about Aaron Sparrow saying that he was the handsome bald guy on an England team stream. But Joe Corallo is the Jeff Goldblum of comic books. I love him. He's great.
No, he's got such a great delivery. I absolutely love it. Like we've talked about like doing several skits, like and whether or not we can get away with it. So I am Aaron Sparrow. That's my name right there. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram. Currently, I'm working for Merc Publishing. I'm the editor-in-chief over there and writing Miss Meow and Death Rage and helping to shape this cool universe. That's the only place I'm working right now because I've been blacklisted everywhere else.
And just like Thanos, we'll make him disappear now.
They barred him for being too good a player.
Or you can come by the Dragon Sun show in City of Industry, California, and buy toys from me. I do that too. I do a variety of things.
I gotta say something. I used to watch Good Dog Press with our friend Manny, and they'd have a thing where one of the guys they have on there is Pablo Romero, and he's like, and they're doing outros. He can find me. He's like, get this, and you can also find me at my house. It just killed me.
Make sure to join us next time for the thrilling conclusion on the discussion about the Supreme Squadron ashing game that we never got around to.
Did you know that they put a guy's ashes into that book?
Wow, no, I didn't.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
And if you cannot find Dolan, just ask Joe or Aaron where he is.
Yeah, we can usually go some of that.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Gay Perry.
Good night.
Come check us out on social media. We'll try to entertain you.
My mom was kiss bang bang. She gets about 3/4 of the way through the movie when she finally put Gay Perry and Gay Perry together, the Val Kilmer character. So that's what that was from, because you had that looks at the fuck is he talking about?
And now we're inside baseball.
But also, because my mom is in an urn in my sister's garage, so that's another line altogether.
Also, some of her ashes are in the inks of Squadron Supreme.
Nope, not my mom. My uncle's. This is right next to her.
And this has been A Minute with Eric Breen.
Good night, folks.
I am ready to monologue.
Joe, if we ever do any